my god, did they?
Yeah.
So I know literally nothing about this guy other than like I've seen him in a few like Star Wars theory comment sections basically, and that's about it. Which again, like I think that tells you everything you need to know.
It's a great sign.
They used to do a podcast. They parted ways. I don't think they're friends anymore. But nonetheless, they still kind of attract the same type of audience, and by that I mean
because they're both stupid.
the worst people. Yeah.
Oh my god! I just saw the view count on this.
Yeah, no, I was saying that. Yeah,
shit.
like okay, his channel has 236,000 subscribers, so already like the average view he pulls in isn't great. Like 30,000 from a day ago, 50,000 from like 2 days ago. But like even compared to that, like a video with 6,000 views is fucking sad.
Yeah.
Like holy shit, you are washed. Okay, let me.
And here I thought I was washed.
Anyway, we're live, by the way. We got people in the chat. You guys entertain them for a moment while I share this
fuck outta
stream
here.
around
I'm gonna say
socials.
something really racist.
Yep.
Yeah,
what I
I
do.
just like down out my spreadsheet of slurs. See if I can find one I haven't used in a while.
Find the
you guys.
website that's just like a whole repository of racial slurs from all different forms of human language, and just fucking let loose, reading them off like the nations of the world. Brought to you by Yakko Warner.
We should make new
Oh, I
ones.
can tell you what I can do. I can read out my defense of the Flash season 5 and see if it kills.
Oh, that's a good idea.
You tell them to not stop to talk, but I counter that talking is fun.
Yes. I can't believe there's
It's
a
for drama purposes.
don't stop to talk moment in the Stranger Things finale. I still need to get your audio for that, Advocate.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'll give it to
stream,
you
everything's
in
working.
28.
What, Andrew?
I check stream, everything's working.
Yeah, well,
Just
so
wanted to say that.
I finally got my internet speed situated, and it's actually better than it's ever been before. So,
Did you like call them and threaten them with a gun?
No, I fucked around with my Ethernet cable and figured out that it was just not a good cable, and I went and got another one. It was that simple, actually. This
I
whole
would have called
fucking
them
time.
anyway.
I mean, no, I did call my provider, and I was like, "Get this fucking shit together, or I'm skinning you alive." But
Good.
you're always gonna make mistakes.
Get that single mother of 5 fired.
Okay, I'm gonna put a watch together, and then I'm going to put the video in the watch together.
I just checked out this guy's channel for the first time. Why is he trying so hard to be like a soy jack?
I don't know. Maybe he thinks that gets him views. Who's to say?
That one image he uses for
it's like
reaction.
never ending as you scroll.
It's a great image. I might actually steal that image. Hold on.
Right,
I'm
gonna actually go ahead and give us a proper intro here for just anyone in chat who doesn't know what we're doing here. Today, we are here to watch Josh from Den of Nerds explain to us, dear viewers.
So Dave Filoni, Andor,
why
Star Wars
Andor is not Star Wars, and he's going to do it scientifically. He's going to prove it.
He's going to crack out the microscope, the spinning machine. That's not the word for it. Centrifuge. That's the word I'm looking for. I just massively fucked that up. Let's try again. He'll crack out the centrifuge. He'll crack out the abacus. He'll crack out the microscope. We're gonna get the ruler. everything to prove scientifically that this show is not really Star Wars.
Yeah.
All right, I've got the video.
Thanks everyone for leaving me hanging and then just having Andrew say yeah.
Fuck you, Joey.
You're welcome. Man.
We hate you.
All the good days work.
Yes, sir.
I hope he has the Vsauce music playing in the background as he talks.
Am I the only one who knows who Den of Nerds was prior to this?
I had no
I
clue
know.
who it was before this video.
Okay, well, I'll just give a
Never
rundown
heard
of
of
who he
him.
was. So, Speedrun, he used to just do like leak content and like theories about shit, which was fine. It's kind of the same line as Star Wars theory, which is like he just made lore videos and he was like he had his place. He was good at it. And then he kind of just started grifting, and then him and Star Wars Theory had a podcast together for like 5 episodes, and then he's just devolved into the same stuff he made in like 2015, but worse. So now he's just like, I don't know. He's just a grifter at this point who can't do anything and makes like fake AI leaks to make YouTube videos on, which is insane.
Objectively hilarious.
I think that might be a mental illness. I think that's like.
And you understand that you require psychiatric help?
We are talking about Dave Filoni.
Yes.
Someone asked in chat.
Yes.
Felony.
We're talking about the kind of person who celebrated that Dave Filoni is the new creative president.
Oh, yeah.
He did.
Well, I mean, this is kind of what I think spurred on the video we're about to react to. Was he was like, when Dave Filoni became co-president of Lucasfilm, there was all that misinformation being released that was like, Dave Filoni apparently doesn't like Andor, which I don't care either way, like what Dave Filoni thinks of Andor, and we can have discussions till we're blue in the face about if he actually does like Andor and what he said on the matter, whatever. But Josh over here was like, good, Andor fucking sucked. It's not Star Wars, and I'm going to scientifically prove it. And then he did. He made this video, this very ill-advised video.
No, he didn't. You said he did. That implies that he actually did end up proving his thesis. We
don't know. Hey, we haven't watched the video. At least I haven't, so we don't know. Maybe he did. Maybe we're about to get schooled today.
Maybe.
I haven't.
And maybe Star Wars Theory will make a cohesive argument one of these days. I mean, a lot of things are possibilities.
I haven't seen it yet either, so I'm also going in blind. All I know is that this guy apparently has an AI thumbnail.
Yeah, he does. I mean, have you seen it?
Dude, it looks like piss, too. The colors are insane.
I was having a lot of trouble making the thumbnail because of the colors. It was really annoying.
Yeah. But his thumbnail, for anyone who hasn't seen it, has like him in a lab coat pointing at a whiteboard, and there's a bunch of equations written on the whiteboard underneath text that says Andor is not Star Wars, underlined. And I've looked at some of these fucking equations, and some of them are just not real. That like over on the left, there's like
none of them are real.
Yeah, these are just not real. Over on the left,
you have 2 botched versions of the quadratic equation.
Yeah.
One, I don't even know what that's meant to be, like a very bad physics equation of like a general physics equation. A molecule that doesn't exist. 2 molecules actually that don't exist, and a color grading that I frankly am baffled by.
I don't think I've ever seen this type of color grading.
Has anyone here seen the 21 Jump Street with Channing Tatum and Jonah Hill? I feel like you should just like settle for the marker board that's like just 4 4 4 4 4. He's like, fuck you, science.
Okay. So I have the video up on the stream for us to go ahead and watch. I have chat open up on my phone because I'm fucking monitoring this, and I don't have all the space in the world for everything that needs to be done. Yes?
I guess I have a question before we start, though, which is like, are we gonna like lay out some criteria for what exactly scientifically proving something would be?
Well, I don't know how you even begin to do that for a fucking TV show. So that's kind of why I'm watching this. It's like, I don't know what that means. I don't know what you think. What are you gonna do?
Especially when Star Wars isn't science to begin with. It's space fantasy.
There are spaceships and lasers. Start with The Force Awakens is not.
I think there was I saw a video where it was a guy who like ranked every single MMO ever, and he was like, I'm doing this with a scientific theory. Like he had ways to scale each I guess like piece of an MMO and separately, and then bring them all together in a score, and then rank them out of that. I guess a scientific theory, sure, but like I don't think he's gonna do that. He's not nearly smart enough to know how to do that,
dude.
Isn't that just kind of having this standard period?
He's got a lab coat in the thumbnail. Like he's definitely smart enough for something like that. I think.
And the difference is like that's ranking all MMOs against each other. This is like ranking if something is Star Wars or not, which is just this fucking
that's a nebulous thing. You can't. There's no quantifying something like that. I don't know where you even begin.
Mm-hmm.
Is this basically the high-tech films argument of like it's a good movie, it's just not a good Spider-Man movie?
Oh, God. the best I can do in terms of the science thing is like, you know, science is about what's repeatably materially testable in the real world, and you know, you test it again and again and you get the same result. You're like, oh, okay, that's probably tells us something about the objective nature of reality around us. So I hope that what he's going to try and do, fingers crossed, is to make claims that you can actually test empirically, and not just be like, here is my vibe, I declare its truth. Now go forth and multiply.
And for those in the comments who are inevitably going to say we're taking this too seriously, this is meant to be fun. I know there's going to be one fucking narc in the comments. It's just a joke. Don't take it seriously.
We're here to make fun of a guy for making an extremely silly claim. Yeah. This kind of feels in a way like a spiritual successor to the Star Wars theory stream we did a few years ago, which I think is a good stream. But what that also means is I'm going to get fucking leveled with comments basically being like, you guys are just high school bullies. Because for some reason, a lot of us...
Nerd is anyone coming to his defense, though, because he's a loser. No one cares.
True. It's just, I got a lot of comments on that VOD, and I still get them to this day. They're just like, you know, I usually like your content, Sheev, but you guys are just being really fucking mean-spirited. And then every time I get comments like that, though, I go back to the video to see, like, oh, were we? And then I listen to it, and it's just us kind of, like, mildly criticizing a guy for saying stupid things, and I'm like, oh, no, we weren't. These guys are just fucking sensitive.
I'm pretty sure we said this in that video as well, but, like, there is, you know, we're not just arbitrarily pulling someone's name out of a hat and being like, we're going to make their lives miserable. What's happening here is like someone who is theoretically a fairly, you know, large critic on YouTube, and is therefore, you know, expected to be held to some kind of standard, and is literally in the very title of their video declaring that they are holding themselves to a kind of standard. We are therefore entitled to criticize them when they fail to uphold that, or even just the kind of most basic standards of being a critic, rather than just being like that guy who yells at people how much they're in the wrong for not liking what they like.
Yes.
So this is going to be fun, and I think, honestly, we should just jump right into it, because this is a 20-minute video, which means 7 hours minimum of this fucking stream if we don't get moving.
So Dave Filoni, Andor, and Star Wars are all in the news again. This has to do with Dave Filoni taking over as the president of Lucasfilm, the co-president with Lin-Win Brennan. This news broke on Thursday this week. It's a big deal. And then the very next day, a Hollywood trade, The Wrap, put out an article breaking down the situation, talking about the future for Star Wars, and they basically said that Dave Filoni didn't like Andor.
Oh.
And on the way...
that was a choice.
That was great.
We're off to a strong start. I'm just going to keep it going.
And you might be like, okay, like, who cares? It's not like he publicly came out to bash Andor. And Tony Gilroy himself has actually talked about how he wasn't a big fan of Star Wars, so who cares? But alas, a lot of motherfuckers seem to care, and it did cause a kerfuffle on...
Okay, so this is going to be one of those videos with the fucking over-editing and the I use these sound effects in order to make my video seem more professionally made. That's what we're getting to here? That's what we're doing?
It's for retention for all the 5-year-olds watching.
He's got such a punchable face. Holy fuck.
I mean, again, I don't really necessarily have any issue with that, because, like, yes, it's cheap, and yes, it's a thing that everyone does, but, like, you know, it's the nature of YouTube. I guess you're trying to retain attention. I guess the thing I'm more concerned about is what exactly is he holding our attention to try and tell us? Because if I'm being bombarded with these sounds and these quick edits and so on to try and drag my eyes to the screen and my ears to his voice, I want to make sure that's going to be, at the very least, not an unpleasant experience.
Well, I take it a more fundamental level where I'm like, I understand, obviously, wanting to retain people's attention. You want the views and you want the retention rates, just generally because this is your job. I obviously can understand that. And I also understand wanting people to stay on your video so that they will hear the points you have to make. You know, you put all this time and effort into making these points. You want people to see them. What I don't like, though, is that you feel the need to be so manipulative with it that you fucking, you know, jangle keys in front of them and quack a rubber duck in their face in order to get them to pay attention to you. You know, have something interesting worth saying, and the people who actually give a fuck about the thing you're saying will flock to that. You know?
Mm-hmm. Somebody in the comments just said, Madvocate OnlyFans when?
That's a good question.
So we were going to announce that at the end of the stream.
That is very relevant to the
video. I put myself inside Deadpool, and all I got was this fucking shirt. What is that? I don't know what that word says, but at the bottom.
This fuck shirt.
This Ahoy shirt. Okay.
The internet. I want to talk about why. I want to talk about what is the deal with Andor and Star Wars fans.
Did someone just pause it?
I didn't.
I didn't.
Not me.
I didn't.
Okay.
I'm
And
blaming
frankly, what is the deal?
Madvocate.
Yeah, fuck you, Madvocate.
Yep.
How dare you?
Wait, hold on. Who is XVJHG?
That's probably
Right, you
me. I didn't
Imposter.
bother naming myself, but as you can see, there's a crown on that, and I made the watch together.
And
So
I am the king, so...
I'm the
Okay.
king. Yeah. All right. Sorry. Anyway,
Alright, let's carry
back
on.
it up just a
A lot
second.
of motherfuckers seem to care, and it did cause a kerfuffle on the internet. I want to talk about why. I want to talk about what is the deal with Andor and Star Wars fans, and frankly, what is the deal with Andor, Star Wars fans, and Dave Filoni? Why did this pop off in the way that it did? But then I want to try to explain
Oh, he's
why
using his own
I
thumbnail.
personally reject Andor, and I don't like it. I don't consider it to be Star
Hold on a
Wars. And so I was
second.
actually kind of
He's saying that he's personally rejecting it. That's not science at all.
Well, didn't you know?
What?
I personally reject the theory of evolution. Therefore, evolution isn't real.
I personally reject that the Earth is a sphere. It is actually a donut.
I reject your reality and substitute my own.
You and I.
Well, he rejects it back.
I'm gonna reject you.
God damn. Oh.
excited when I heard that Dave didn't like Andor, because I truly don't want any more projects like Andor to be made under Lucasfilm. And maybe that's unrealistic because
Wait, hang on. I think I have something for him. I have a 10-hour compilation of keys jangling that I can link you if that's what you're looking for.
I need a
I guess I'm intrigued by this line of thought, right? He's like, I personally didn't like Andor, which, okay, I think that's mental, but sure,
Fine.
personal taste is personal taste. And he's like, therefore, I don't want Disney to ever make something like Andor again. And I'm like, you do understand that there are other people in this fandom than
Yeah.
you, right? Like, with
It's like-
different tastes.
It's like my
Well-
Jedi Adventures. I'm not gonna be watching that because that's for 8-year-olds.
I think.
But like that can exist.
I think there's a version of this argument that's worth making, right? Like we've, talked at length on streams and in videos about why Ahsoka is a terrible show. And of course, we've gone about that objectively. We didn't just say, oh, Ahsoka wasn't my cup of tea. But like, if you were to lay the groundwork and explain why the show in question is not only just not good, but also just not worth like the resources and effort that go into making it, which could be devoted elsewhere, then I can see that argument. Like I don't want another show like Ahsoka to exist.
True, but I guess what we mean by, when we say a show like Ahsoka, we're referring to like how well made it is, right? Like how well put together the show is. We're not making a passing commentary on like this type of genre or this type of like age bracket aiming shouldn't exist in Star Wars. Like I have no issue with like Andrew said, like with Star Wars Adventures for kids. I've got no issue with what was the one that Jude Law was in that we watched?
Skeleton Crew.
Skeleton Crew. Like, in terms of its vibe, the kind of Goonies-esque vibe it was going for, I have absolutely no issue with the story in Star Wars having that.
I
Kind of
want
vibe.
a story
It's a
like
big
that.
galaxy.
I want that. I want a Star Wars show that's that energy.
I just wish it was good. That's
Yeah.
all we're asking for.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's why I'm saying is like there's a version of this argument that he's making right now that actually makes sense, but he's not making that one. So we're off to a good start.
Star Wars should maybe try different things, right? And that's fine. But at the end of the day, I still don't want Star Wars to focus on doing things like Andor. One of the main reasons I don't like Andor is because so much of Lucasfilm's resources, time, and energy was spent on that project. Andor for 2 seasons cost around $700 million to produce. And it also took a lot of
Money well
time
spent.
and energy and resources and the time and the energy of Lucasfilm's partners in order to create. And then you look at a project like Kenobi, which had around a $90 million budget.
He's literally doing the Star Wars theory thing.
He is?
He's doing the exact thing Star Wars theory did. Oh my god.
It's so funny because like the money doesn't make a good show. Like the reasons Kenobi is bad is not because it's like because of the money. It's like, oh, we couldn't pay for a better script. It's like that's not how that works.
Well, but even putting that to one side, it's like, oh, I don't want them to put $700 million towards something like Andor because I personally don't like it. Because in order for you to make that argument, you'd have to basically be like, this is a show that doesn't currently exist that could have been made instead. That would have been more worth adding to the Star Wars mythos, right? You know, but like instead we spent that money on Andor, and there, you know, and again, I would make an argument like that for something like Ahsoka, where I'm like, you know, this could have been a fucking TV show. This could have been something that was actually artistically valuable, but instead you made Ahsoka, and you spent hundreds of millions doing that. So again, it's like that's an argument you can make, but you have to you have to qualify it first by talking about why Andor was a waste of $700 million.
I want to know what number, like the exact number these people think you have to hit before the show gets good. Like that's the thing that really gets me. They're like, oh, Andor, like you know, let's just imagine that this universe was sorted through. It isn't, but let's just imagine that this was the case, right? Like Disney had like, I don't know, an $850 million budget over 4 years, and someone in the office was like, okay, $700 million of that is going on Andor, and everyone else just gets the scraps. And you know, that's how that was passed. If that's the case, I want you to know, I want this person to me exactly how much of Andor's budget he thinks Obi-Wan Kenobi would have needed before it became a quote-unquote good show. Because that's the contention he's making, that it's a money problem. And as Andrew said, you know, the reasons Obi-Wan Kenobi is a bad television show is nothing to do with how much money was spent on it. It looks expensive. Well, it mostly looks expensive. There's some really obvious things that do look cheap. That's not because the money isn't there. It's because they just didn't know how to use it. But like its main issues are just bad script. Really terrible script, terrible premise. There was no reason for the show to be made in the first place. There was no story to tell. It was just dangling glup shitos and key jangling on the screen. Well, that's the only reason it existed.
I don't even think we have to go too deeply into this because, again, this is all stuff we already talked about in the Star Wars Theory stream, which you guys can go check out. It's on my channel if you haven't seen it. But, like, Star Wars Theory made this exact point, and as we pointed out back then, like, you know, $90 million is not exactly a fucking indie budget, you know? Like, you can do a lot on a $90 million, especially for only a 6-episode miniseries. Are you kidding me?
Actually, speaking of the numbers side of it, I actually have an interesting sort of idea to posit. So, Andor, if you really break it down, it kind of follows into each season being 4 arcs of 3-ish episodes, right? And those can kind of be viewed sort of like movies, I'd say, like smaller movies in a larger story. If you break down the $700 million budget for the entire show, which is 2 seasons, which means 8 arcs, you actually have a $700 million budget for 8 movies.
Which is insanely conservative, yeah.
Yeah,
well, I did really point this out with
crazy.
When Star Wars Theory made this thing, which is like, if you actually break down the amount of money spent per episode, Kenobi had more money than Andor.
Yep.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's what I find so interesting when people are saying, well, this money could have gone to anything else. It's like, yeah, sure, it could have gone to anything else. That's true of any piece of art that has ever existed.
Dude, it could have gone to more Young Jedi adventures, bro.
Exactly. But the reality is Andor is not stealing resources from other Star Wars things. That's such a bullshit claim to make. Because those other Star Wars things are being made with equivalent budgets. It's just that they're shorter.
I have the best comparison here, Sheev, which is, so per episode, Kenobi had a budget of roughly $15 million per episode.
Yeah.
Would you like to know what the budget for every episode of The Devil's Hour was?
Oh, this is going to hurt me, isn't it?
It is, yeah. It was about £120,000, so about $150,000.
Damn, I was going to highball it. I was going to say, let's say 600,000 per, you know? Not even that. Not even close.
The thing that, like, really annoys me about this argument is, like, where is the synergy for Ahsoka then?
Right.
Or any other Star Wars, like, any other Star Wars shows that are being made is, like, Andor is not the only one, so... Like,
well, yeah, but if it's a Filoni show, then he probably likes it, so Ahsoka's allowed to exist.
I'm intrigued by, because even the Filoni fanboys don't tend to like The Rise of Skywalker, and I'm like, the budget for The Rise of Skywalker was quite a lot of money. So this doesn't really work as an argument, does it?
To be fair, and again, I just don't have enough experience with Den of Nerds, but, like, to be fair, he might very well be like, yeah, but The Rise of Skywalker is also a waste of resources and shouldn't exist, just like Andor. And I'd be like, okay, fine. It's a stupid argument, but at least you're being consistent.
And I think it was a failure. I think Andor somewhat succeeded in that it is critically acclaimed, and that's a part of why it is a thing. And the Kenobi show is widely considered to be a dud, to be considered either slob or a total fumble.
No, but it's a dud because it's critically, like, it's bad. Like, critics don't like it, audiences don't like it. It's widely regarded as a bad show. Again, this isn't Andor stealing resources and therefore being successful as a result. It's just that Andor was well written and people liked it. That's why it's more successful.
More money, you get better scripts. That's
true. And just look at Rings of Power. You know, $1 billion seasons.
I will never not be convinced that like Rings of Power isn't like a money laundering scheme.
It is money laundering.
Where's that money going?
Israel.
Yes.
Can you imagine if that was true? Like Rings of Power is like a front for arming the IDF.
Dude, the way those writers talk, I believe it, bro. I don't believe those people get paid.
You are not a real person.
Yeah, they do not exist.
You are lying to me right now.
I mean, also, again, in terms of the money, like, that finale of Stranger Things had loads of money, and it was great, right? I mean, it was wonderful.
This feels like that fucking, that meme of like the water pipe pouring into that fat guy sitting in the chair, and then there's like the little scrawny malnourished guy trying, begging for scraps and like getting. I feel like that's like the argument that's unironically being made, where like Kenobi with its 90 million little budget is the little malnourished scrawny guy trying desperately to get just a little sip of water, whereas the mean old Andor is sitting there getting fat and lazy. That's so funny.
For like a stupid goy-slop moron like Den of Nerds, I'd expect a show that's about the fucking formation of the Rebel Alliance to actually be pretty fucking cool in his mind, and the Kenobi show, which is just kind of just making up random shit that never was supposed to happen at any point in this universe. I'd assume he'd think that's garbage, so I don't know why he's playing this whole game of like, this is bad because it's unnecessary, when it's actually something that's kind of necessary for, building up to the original trilogy and really helps enhance the world. Whereas something that actively fucking kneecaps the franchise, no, that deserves the resources.
Yes. But it's a show about Obi-Wan Kenobi. And just like Star Wars Theory said, Obi-Wan is one of the OGs, therefore that deserved more money.
Straight white male!
And it's so funny because I'm like, it's a 6-episode miniseries. Can you imagine spending $700 million on 6 episodes of television? Can you imagine that?
That would actually be a bigger waste of money than Andor.
It'd be a fucking massive. Well, $90 million for Kenobi was a waste of money, considering how they put that budget to use.
Mm-hmm.
So
honestly,
yeah,
it would have been a better use of their money just to pilot in like the middle of Times Square and burn it to keep the homeless warm.
Fucking Joker,
just use that money, unironically.
Of an incredible opportunity with great Star Wars characters. That's actually really important. I want to come back to that idea. What would maybe be the difference between a project just being Star Wars slop or a project attempting to do something that it should do with a lack of proper resources? That question is actually at the core of my issue with Andor. But I'm getting
okay, what did he just say?
Oh yeah, I'm gonna run that back. Just give me a second.
I want to come back to that idea. What would maybe be the difference between a project just being Star Wars slop or a project attempting to do something that it should do with a lack of proper resources?
So there's a lot of loaded aspects to what he just said that I don't really like. Star Wars attempting to do something that it quote unquote should do with a lack of resources. What do you mean by should do? Because I mean, what I'd argue is that Andor is what Star Wars should do in terms of like it told an actual fucking story that was artistically meaningful. It actually attempted theme and character work, and it was cohesive artistically and narratively, and it was all these things that Star Wars should be, because most, like, all stories should be that in a very broad sense. The only disqualifier there is that we're pretending that Andor didn't have limited resources. So I don't know what he thinks he's propping up here as an example of that.
I'll steel man him a little bit. I don't know if he deserves it, but I'll try. Which is, if he's making the comparison between, like, he's acknowledging himself that Kenobi was a failure. He doesn't like Kenobi either, which, fair play.
Okay.
But if he's going, like, the comparison between what that was, which is, like, quote unquote, what he says, Star Wars slop, like it was a meaningless pile of drivel that just wasted money, what money it had, versus a version of Kenobi in its head that was, like, actually telling a story about Obi-Wan that was worth telling, but would still have failed in his imagination because it didn't have its resources,
but it wouldn't have
resources needed to realize that vision. Yeah, but that's the point.
No,
if drawing a completely non-argument
here. Because if you were to have Kenobi's budget, if you were to cut it completely in half, if you were to cut it into fucking a quarter of what it was, and told that story that he's advocating for, that was actually like done well, and that like got Obi-Wan right, it could have had a fucking $20 million budget, and everyone would have liked it because it would have been really good, and it would have been critically acclaimed, just like Andor. It would be seeing the exact same success. It'd be seeing more success because it's about a flagship character.
Yeah.
So this entire premise is wrong.
I'll be shocked.
He's not wearing his lab coat. That's why he's making dumb arguments.
That question is at the core of my
when is the science kicking in?
I'm getting a bit ahead.
We're getting there.
With Dave a little bit here, because Dave or somebody at Lucasfilm did issue a denial to the Hollywood Reporter, or I guess it was the Wrap's article. The reason that's important.
Fucking 360p clip from
you
can. It's 2026. You can get some higher res versions of Revenge of this. I can send you a copy of the film if you need it that bad, Josh.
He's
Jesus
still
Christ.
using the cinema rip he took on his camcorder in 2003.
It's got the same file he's used for 20 years. It ain't broke, don't fix it, man.
It's so old that like DaVinci Resolve can't even read it anymore. It's like I don't know what to do.
I don't
There's
know.
files that have corrupted, but he hasn't deleted them.
Is because this is like one crazy ass first day on the job. Dave is basically co-president for one day, and there's already this big article out there in the Hollywood Trade saying that he didn't like Andor, and I don't think Disney would issue the denial unless they actually did see that it was causing some crazy stuff to happen online, that fans were talking about this, and that.
Well, yeah, obviously the fucking Lucasfilm co-president not liking one of the Star Wars shows that got made last fucking year would be a bit controversial. I like that would be the case even if the show wasn't like well regarded, right?
Critically acclaimed, yeah.
Yeah. Even if he fucking said that about like the bad, well, that probably wouldn't stir quite as much buzz because nobody gives a fuck about that show. But like, you get what I'm saying.
I want to draw a comparison here, right? Because like I know that there's a creative element, obviously, to Dave Filoni being the president of Lucasfilm, but ultimately that's a business position in a business, right?
Yeah.
So forget audiences, like critics. Imagine like you're I don't know, a shareholder in a company that's put out like a whole slew of really shitty products that haven't sold very well and have underwhelmed the market, and then a new CEO gets put in, and he's like, oh yeah, that one like product we put out a couple of years ago that everyone actually did like and sold really well. Yeah, I hate that. I like everything else we made. Like, you would be very concerned. Like, so no wonder,
yes,
that coming out caused a bit of a media. Yeah, I mean, yes, he is literally a Disney shareholder. He can attest. It's not a good thing to hear, if you get all concerned about the franchise or the company.
But that's also one of the reasons. Oh, go ahead.
Go ahead. No, you go first, Donovan.
I was just gonna say, to kind of round off the point, is that like that's one of the reasons, and I alluded to this earlier, where like people have shown clips from various interviews where Filoni has said, no, I actually like Andor. I think it's really good. And that's one of the reasons why I'm like, I don't care if he does or doesn't like Andor, but I don't think these clips prove that he does, because why the fuck would he, a high-ranking and very well-known employee of Lucasfilm, ever say anything negative toward a piece of Star Wars media? That would be career suicide. Why would he do that?
So,
yeah.
The funny story I had was that years ago, I was working on my Filoni video while I was on vacation with my family. And my dad is also a Disney shareholder, so we were just discussing sort of the direction Star Wars was going in, because at the time, Star Wars was still kind of a cash cow for Disney. Not anymore, but at the time, I was basically breaking down how this is not a sustainable business, because unfortunately, as much as we hate to admit it, entertainment and art is kind of a business now. And, when it comes to a company like Disney, where they commercialize, nostalgia and all that shit, well, they've been pulling from the well of nostalgia without putting anything back in to guarantee that they have anything going down the line. They just keep pulling over and over and over again with cameos and fan service and spin-offs and prequels and all that shit over and over and over again. And we're at a point now of just critical mass. People don't care about the new Mandalorian movie. The Mandalorian in 2019 was huge. It took over the fucking world. Star Wars was huge back then.
Well, I mean,
now Star Wars is basically on the level of fucking Star Trek.
There's another angle to look at that from, too, which is that, like, this is the first time in 7 years that a Star Wars movie is hitting theaters, and nobody gives a fuck.
Yeah.
That's insane.
No one cares.
Can you imagine saying that to someone, like, 10 years ago? You know, like, when Rogue One was coming out, and, like, the Force Awakens hype train was still pretty fucking big, you know? That's insane.
Star Wars would be diluted to the point of no one gives a fuck. Like, I predicted back then that Dave Filoni and Lucasfilm's continued shit business decisions and the mindset of cameos, nostalgia, fucking goy slop bullshit would get to a point where Star Wars ends up fucking dying in irrelevance. And here we are now, where Star Wars making one great show made a lot of people say, okay, I've had my time. And then people are just moving on.
Someone in chat said that Disney has become the RDA of entertainment.
Yeah, pretty much.
I was going to say, someone else in chat was like, what if Tony Gilroy and Vivian Madrano teamed up? Which is already a horrifying prospect. But what if Tony Gilroy and Maduro teamed up?
Oh boy!
What a bizarre thought.
Dude, Tony Gilroy trying to write something with Vivzy Pop. I think he would actually just hang himself in the closet.
I think he'd just drag her outside and beat her to death with a copy of Angles.
Somebody on my Discord server earlier, he was joking about how Dave Filoni and Vivzy Pop are probably like a long-lost father and daughter. And I said, no, Vivzy Pop is his long-lost sister from Canary.
There's a lot of confusion and anger and just, you know, basically the narrative was the future of Star Wars is going to be handled by the Ahsoka guy, and he doesn't like Andor, so
that's terrifying. Yeah.
And I don't know how to take this exactly because on the one hand, this could just be PR. I mean, I personally don't think Dave Filoni really likes Andor, and this is something I've kind of heard behind.
I'm going to agree with him there. I don't think that Filoni likes Andor, and again, I don't care one way or another, and you can. You can send me whatever Filoni quote you want that says, no, I really like Andor. I don't believe that. I just don't. It's not his type of show, and he's only saying it to save career, basically.
Yeah, because it's that thing of like every quote we've seen is through some kind of official channel, like either like at a Disney Star Wars convention or like through some kind of official media. And the thing is like, yeah, once you are, well, he was already the chief creative officer, right? But like once you're the president, you can't just come out and start like publicly shitting on your company's own products unless they are universally hated by everyone. And Andor isn't. So of course he's going to say he likes Andor publicly.
Even then, right? Like, because I think back to like the early Disney era, right, when like it was still like not cool to reference the prequels because it was understood that nobody liked the prequels. But even then, they kind of just ignored the prequels. They didn't have any like actual representatives actively saying, yeah, the prequels sucked, guys. We're with you there. You don't acknowledge things that are like widely considered bad because that's bad for your PR.
I've seen somebody in the chat try to imply that what I'm saying when I say goy slop is offensive. I know it's offensive. That's why I'm doing it. It's a joke, dumbass.
just to put that out there in case you. I thought you were about to like clarify, your position there. You were gonna like, no, it's not offensive. I mean it in this way. No.
I genuinely do not care. I'm making a stupid joke about a stupid person. Move on. It's the internet.
The scenes, and even Joanna Robinson on her podcast hinted at this. We talked about this a couple of weeks or a month ago when Joanna Robinson's podcast basically discussed how Dave Filoni has been cutting up a lot of projects, having final say, and maybe stopping certain projects and greenlighting certain projects. And Andor was specifically a project that I believe Joanna described as being kept away from Filoni, like it was protected from Filoni, I think is maybe the language.
Who's pausing it?
Not me.
One of you fuckers is pausing this. Swear to God. Andrew, are you trolling me?
Andrew's just there clicking on and off like at random to see if we'll say anything when it's paused.
All right, I'm gonna play it now. Is that okay with everyone? Are we all in agreement? Hey.
And that was interesting. A project that I believe Joanna described as being kept away from Filoni, like it was protected from Filoni, I think is maybe the language she used.
That's such a funny.
Interesting. It also aligns itself with a report from Christian Harloff,
just every time
where
Filoni was like walking past the set, he'd like give it a look, and they were like, "Shit!" Like just like stand in front of the door, like shield it from him. Don't let him in. Don't let him in.
No. Well, because wasn't there a thing that also wasn't there a thing that also came out recently that was like, you know, Andor is one of the only Star Wars projects that Filoni had absolutely no involvement in, and I'm like, huh, crazy. That's insane.
Yeah.
Wonder what that means.
We all knew.
Wonder what conclusions to draw from that. Well, because I even expected like a pity, like Tony gave him one little creative input, you know, like something small, like you're allowed to like, I don't know, give that guy some kind of like background cameo, but no, he didn't do shit. He was just like, no, don't touch my show.
2.0.
I almost wonder if, because, you know, people clown on Kathleen Kennedy, and I have just a litany of criticisms of Kathleen Kennedy, but I almost wonder if she was kind of taking a gamble in her own way with Andor, like with the making of Andor and allowing it to exist in the way that it did, where she was like, what if I don't let Dave touch this at all? Like, will that make a difference? Like, will people like it more? And then everyone did, and she was like,
She's like, fuck, we got the wrong guy.
It's kind of interesting, right? Because, I mean, like you said, I have a litany of criticisms I can level at Kathleen Kennedy as a creative, because I don't think she is creative at all, and it shows. But, you know, to be fair to her, and where her strengths actually do lie, is like as a straight producer, as just someone whose job is to facilitate what the creators are making, she's pretty good. Like, she's consistently been someone who's very effective at doing that, at just being the logistics person who gets everything sorted. And so, like, in Andor, where she's not being asked to like make creative decisions, and like another person's come in with like a complete vision, and she's like, yeah, do what you want, and in my role as producer, I will protect your vision as much as I can. Like, I will bat for you, and it works out really well. I think that's what she was doing. Whereas like anything that Dave Filoni's involved in, it kind of just feels like she has to also get creatively involved, not even because she wants to, because that's just her role to manage Dave in that way.
You can't do that, Dave. Calm the fuck down.
Yeah, basically. Yeah, basically. And so, like, with Andor, it's more just like she really wanted to be able to, like, green light a project that was quote-unquote cinema, that she could just go back to her roots. Because that's what she's doing now, right? I mean, see, you'll probably know more about this than we do, but isn't that what Kathleen Kennedy's going to go do now? She's just going back to being a regular producer?
I wouldn't be surprised if she did. From what I understood from the article, I thought she was just retiring altogether, though.
Yeah, that's what I thought. She's got to be, what, 70 at this point?
I think she's older than that, honestly.
Yeah.
Tech did from Filoni.
Also, I just want to make this clarification because I know someone in the audience is thinking it right now. This isn't some kind of like revisionist, perhaps I treated you too harshly with Kathleen. Because again, we have our fair share of criticisms, but we've always, I think, had a lot more nuance when it came to our discussions of Kennedy, where we weren't just like, she's the devil and Filoni's the saint. Like, it was never like that. And you guys, and I think most of you guys know that, but just in case there's some fucking guy out there watching this stream right now.
George Lucas's dog in front of him.
She did do that.
No, they are two peas in a pod of idiocy. She allowed him to do all the stupid shit he was able to do, and he brought her the idiot fanboys who keep coming back to their fucking destroyed franchise. They're not in no way are they separate people, like they were enemies or anything. They work together, and they work together to accomplish the same shitty goals.
I mean, I still blame her for a lot of what Dave Filoni has been allowed to get away with, obviously. So, you know, she still has a lot of blood on her ledger on that front.
That's kind of what I mean, right? By being a producer in the kind of purest sense, like her skills are purely like administrative and logistical. She has no ability to make creative inputs, which is good when she's paired up with an artist who actually has a cohesive vision for what they want to do, because she just makes sure that their vision comes to fruition in the best way possible. But the second she's actually in a position of either having to make creative decisions of her own, or to weigh in creatively on somebody else's creative decisions, it all goes to shit. Because Dave Filoni is being like, I want to bring back 15 different flavors of wolf with like different mythological names of wolves, and we'll put in Ahsoka Tano because of course we will. And she's like, yeah, Dave, whatever you want. Rather than being like, no, that's a really stupid idea. You shouldn't do that.
Yeah,
it's a good idea.
Yep.
I think is maybe the language she had used. And that report's interesting. It also aligns itself with a report from Christian Harloff, where Harloff had reported that the Acolyte show had been heavily cut up and changed by Dave Filoni, and that there might have been a version of Acolyte that was even more dark, or maybe more, I don't know, postmodern, or maybe it just did more crazy stuff.
I wonder what that version of the Acolyte would have looked like.
Oh man,
Would it have been worse? Would it have been better?
Probably
I think
mildly better, but like I don't think by much.
maybe it wouldn't have so many like tonal issues.
Well, because
but like
the Acolyte kind of gets the same treatment by a lot of fans as The Last Jedi, insofar as they're like, but it attempted to do themes, therefore it's good. And it's like, no, it still has to like be well executed. I think you're missing that step. Where it's like, I put it, I think it's objectively worse for a lot of different reasons, but I also put it a tier above a lot of Filoni's slop, and in many ways, because it did actually attempt to do that. It just did so very poorly. Whereas like, you know, something like The Mandalorian, Ahsoka, that shit. There are no attempts at actually doing themes there. There are no attempts at telling a real story there.
What do you mean? Sabine learns to trust in the Force and become a Jedi.
yeah, she just did it.
True.
The actors for her and Shin made fuck me eyes off camera, so now we're gonna forcibly ship them. That's all
Yeah, and I'm the homophobe for saying that's a stupid thing to do.
Oh no, I said
Fuck you,
Oh no!
Joe.
Oh no! I can't wait for Ahsoka season 2 later this year. That's gonna be so much fun.
Oh my, that's coming this
You know
year.
what?
Unfortunately,
That is this year. That's not how I'd phrase it. I'm like, I can't wait to see Sheev's reaction to that show. But I am in no way looking
I
forward
can't
to
wait
the
to
damage
torture
that's gonna wreak
Jolly
on my psyche.
because of course he's going to be forced to go through it with me so that we can do our streams and breakdowns and everything.
thought Ahsoka was next year.
No.
No.
Well, and the Darth Maul
Off
show,
my ship.
the Darth Maul show is also coming out this year, and I think it's going to connect pretty significantly to the Ahsoka show. They've already brought back fucking
Don't say that.
Marok.
Does that mean I have to watch more?
You might.
Homework.
I'll let you know.
So fucked.
The Maul show, like originally, I was just gonna make a video about it, like a real quick, like, well, that happened. But I feel like if it does try to tie into Ahsoka and like the mythology surrounding like the Night Sister stuff, like I think they're gonna do that. Then yeah, there's gonna be a lot more to say, unfortunately.
Andrew, we are so
fucked. Sheev's gonna make us watch the show and talk
Pain.
about it for 7 hours.
This is when we spring on Advocate that actually Daredevil, what's it called, Rebirth. I can't even remember the fuck
Born
it's called
Again.
now. Yeah, Daredevil Born Again season 2 is just going to be coming out this year as well. Surprise drop.
Oh yeah, it is though in March. We actually, Madvocate,
No.
do you want to tell them what the conclusion you came to about season 2 after like working on this video?
Yeah, so now that I'm working on my video, I feel the pain that Sheev must have gone through because as I started working on it, I'm like, I don't want to watch season 2 now.
You guys
I'm
laughed
just
at me
not-
when
it's
I
not
said I wasn't
happening.
watching season 2. You doubted me, but now Madvocate is also in my
You're
camp.
watching season 2.
I'm not
I don't
watching
care if the
season.
video
If I gotta
does
wa- if
well,
I gotta
just
watch
like Sheev didn't
Ahsoka-
care.
You don't
I'm
gotta
not
watch
watching
Ahsoka.
Daredevil.
You're always welcome to
Yeah.
not be part of my streams. Jolly's the only one I'm going to be holding at gunpoint for this.
I'm sorry
Oh
about
yeah,
that.
I'm
There's
not,
no
I'm not
other
watching Ahsoka. I have a happy ending with Andor season 2, and I'm just satisfied retiring from Star Wars.
I'm free.
This is gonna be
I'm
great.
also only in the stream because I wanted to make fun of this dumbass. I also don't really give a shit about YouTube either.
Fair. All right, let's
Fair.
carry on. See,
To the
see where he
potential
goes with this.
lore and the canon of like the Chosen One and Anakin or whatever. Point is, Harloff did report that Dave Filoni kind of came in there, cut it up, changed it, and I believe what Joanna was kind of saying was that he may or may not have wanted to do that to Andor, but the project was protected by Kathleen Kennedy from Dave Filoni. I don't know if it's accurate to say that Filoni doesn't like Andor, and maybe the denial by Lucasfilm makes sense because maybe there are aspects of Andor that Dave really enjoys, and ultimately he thinks it's good.
Where's this
work. But I
going?
think it's still probably true that Dave Filoni would not have allowed Andor to exist the way it did if he really had full control of it.
Well, no, he definitely wouldn't, and that's why it's good that he had no creative involvement at all.
Why it was protected from him.
Yeah.
supposedly.
I want to know where this is going, because obviously I guess it's worth addressing if this is going to be the catalyst that causes you to make this video. what does Filoni think in a broad sense about Andor, but like this video, the subject of it is Andor is not Star Wars, and I'm going to prove it scientifically, he claims. And we're 5 minutes into it now, and it's a 20-minute video. So
no lab coat yet.
Get on with it. Yeah. Where's the fucking lab? I was promised a lab coat.
Where's the whiteboard with the wrong
test tubes
equation?
Instead of this video, I could have been like shitting my guts out.
That's a good idea. I mean, you could still do that.
I mean, yeah, theoretically, there's nothing stopping you from doing both simultaneously.
No, it's too late. We're done.
It's over.
Don't call me.
I'm fucked.
Don't come by
Do
my
not
house.
have Craig react.
Somebody in the chat wonders why Dave Filoni has such an obsession with witches. He's into those goth dummy mummies.
Amen.
He's a child. Shit. He's a child of the animations of the early 90s, late 90s, early 2000s, where we all got indoctrinated to like goth girls.
Amen.
I'm telling you, it was those fucking witches from Scooby-Doo. What were their names?
The Hex Girls.
The Hex Girls.
The Hex Girls. That's right. It was the fucking Hex Girls. I get it, honestly.
Oh, yeah.
Anyway.
I think that's evidenced by the Harloff report. I think that's kind of backed up by what Joanna said. And by the way, I don't blame fans that like Andor for having this rub them the wrong way. And I think there are a lot of fans that like Andor and maybe don't even understand why fans like myself don't like it, which again, I'm going to explain in the video. But before I talk about like my issues with Andor, I would like to just say that I don't have an issue with Andor having the quality that it has. I don't have an issue with Andor being so competently cast, shot, and written. Like this.
Okay, hold on. Pause it. So he just went on a tirade earlier about how the quality of the show, on some level, he was kind of implying that it was tied to its budget, and he was complaining about its budget. So no, you actually do have an issue with how well it's made. Fuck off.
I kind of think that the point he's ultimately veering to here is that Andor is not Star Wars, and I'm about to prove that objectively and scientifically. So it's actually annoying in its own way that it's competently made and has such a huge budget, but isn't Star Wars. Therefore, that was all a waste of resources, apparently.
Why isn't it Star Wars?
That's a coherent point.
Where is the argument for why it isn't Star Wars?
Well, he's going to get to that, Southpaw.
Dude, yeah, he said
Southpaw.
And it's just going to be like, it does not have lightsaber.
But
it does not have force.
This is kind of the same argument that I see from like literally everyone who opposes Andor. Like I think even Robot Head in his season 1 video was like, it's so, it is pretty competently made, it's well acted, it's well directed, but it's not Star Wars, and that's for one very simple reason.
But like, I feel like if you want to argue why something isn't Star Wars and all these other like issues that you are pointing out are like serious issues, I think that the important thing is to start with explaining why this isn't Star Wars, and then like those other supposed issues will like more easily resonate.
Yeah, this is a very poorly structured video.
Yeah,
because we are now, as over a quarter of the way into it, and all I've learned so far is that he really wants to ramble about how Dave Filoni may or may not have actually liked Andor and how he may or may not be pleased about that, but he doesn't really want to come down too hard on one side or the other because he understands the other. And like, it's not going anywhere. Like, just please can we skip
you're putting the cart before the horse, because you have to quantify. You have to explain to me why Andor is not Star Wars before you can come to the conclusions you're coming to about why it not being Star Wars is negative toward like its resource allocation and its overall quality and just like what that says about the overall IP.
Well, yeah, I'm actually finally getting together my Civil War video. I have a mostly completed script for it, and I spend like the majority, like the first portion of the video just going over why the movie's story doesn't hold up, and then I then like make my conclusions about like the process that it was made under and how it contributed to those problems at the end of the video. This guy seems to be doing it in reverse, and that's just not working.
It's not a good idea.
Listen, you guys are being too hard on him. He makes like leak slop videos. He's never made an argumentative essay in his life. He wrote them in crayon in high school. Just cut him some slack.
That's true. He's video making. We got to be nice to him.
No, I don't.
Fuck you.
Face.
No.
I refuse.
Yeah,
this is nowhere in my contract.
Can't acknowledge that Andor was a very competently made show, and that there is a reason as to why so many people out there enjoy it. And
it's weird too, because okay, if you're someone who thinks that Andor's bad, I understand why you would go, do all this shit to try to argue that it's not Star Wars, right? Because, you don't want this bad show to be part of the franchise you love. I don't understand the people that are like, no, it's actually pretty well made. Like, I fully lament that. I fully concede that it is well done. It is a good show, but it's not Star Wars. It's like, don't you want the good show to be part of Star Wars? Like, wouldn't that be better for Star Wars if it was?
I think at that point, they're just saying it for the purposes of avoiding people crucifying him.
Well, yeah, there is that. Like, there is just a sense in which they only say that it's good to avoid negative reactions on their videos, because obviously the majority don't agree with them. But let's just steel man him here. Let's be charitable. I think what he's gunning for is something along the lines of, like, I can appreciate that strawberry flavored ice cream is really well made and delicious to a lot of people, but I don't like strawberry. I like chocolate, and I think that this franchise is meant to be chocolate. So I'd rather they just made chocolate.
Yeah, but that's the part where we're disagreeing. Yeah, where it's like, you can say you don't like strawberry ice cream. You don't then get to say that because you don't like it, that means it's not real ice cream. Like, that's not how that works.
Yeah.
That's just not how this works. But
it's just not real ice cream.
But I guess that's what I'm saying is, like, he's going out of his way to be like, strawberry ice cream is really well made as ice cream, right? Because that's what you'd have to be saying, right? If you're saying strawberry ice cream is well made, and then you're going further and going, but it's not ice cream. And it's like, those two things are completely contradictory statements that you're now making.
Well, again, without spoiling what's coming up, it's more like he's saying, like, there is a right flavor of ice cream to serve at, like, say, a children's birthday party, and strawberry is not it. It must be chocolate, because that's what children enjoy. Like, that's much more akin to what he's actually going to be saying as an argument. And, like, again, that is entirely nuts and arbitrary in itself, but that, I think, is what he's basically trying to say.
Can we start skinning people like this?
It's a good idea.
Is she muted?
Oh, he said BOB.
He'll have to go. Yeah, he'll have to go do something.
What if we watch the video?
Oh yeah, he's taking a fat shit.
Yeah, we'll watch the video without him. We'll watch the whole thing. We won't stop the talk.
Yeah,
and then we'll come back. We're like, we're done. We've
put it on ×2 speed.
Diabolical.
We can free ourselves.
We actually agree with him, Sheev.
Yeah, actually, we just watched the video.
Yeah,
he's kind of cooked, actually.
He has our children at gunpoint, but actually we agree with Den of Geeks.
Dude, I love Robot Head. I want to suck his dick.
We're actually all never speaking to you again, Sheev. This is true.
Fuck the woke. Long live ice.
We are Dave Filoni.
Yeah, actually, my brain chip has decided that I love Ahsoka. Glory to Israel.
Oh, why did you mention the brain chips? I don't. Again, like I presume everyone else has seen that this has been a discussion that Sheev got into again the other day on Twitter. Yeah, that fucking inhibitor chip argument. I do not understand the people who want to make arguments against the inhibitor chip. Like, I just don't think anything about Order 66 really functions without them. But oh well.
Yeah.
Star Wars is shit, but let's talk about why it's shit using arguments that make sense.
Without the chips, it's like, hey, can you kill your commander? It's like, no.
What? Why would I do that?
So yeah, the president's been on the phone. He's telling me that you should just turn around and gun down the general. It's like, I'm gonna double check that actually before I do that.
I'm gonna cite my sources.
Someone needs to make like an animated like skit of that where they're just like, hey, what? And then they just go around asking every clone. They're like, hey, they want us to kill that guy. That's crazy.
What the fuck?
Yeah,
why would they want us to do that?
Yeah, they're talking about it, and they don't understand that, like, the Padawan is, like, eating in the same canteen just behind, like, in the table behind them. And the Padawan's like, you're gonna do what now? And they're like, oh, you're hit. Oh,
they kill the Padawan instead.
Yeah, like, they shoot the Padawan to stop him from telling, and they're like, well, I guess we're committed now. We just have to follow through on the whole thing.
Somebody in the chat is saying that weren't they raised from birth for obedience? It's like, yes, I can buy the be raised from birth to be obedient, but also too, they're still people with brains, and they can think about what's going on in that present moment. And while yes, they'll probably be more obedient, like really all it takes is just a few clones to say, yeah, no, I'm not doing that because I've been spending a fucking war fighting alongside these guys, and they would actually probably be a strategic disadvantage to try and turn on my Jedi.
Well, it's also that thing of like the people who don't like the chips, like the reason they don't like them is they're like, oh, it strips the clones of all nuance. And I'm like, okay, but if they're and Sheev's on the agreement where like if your argument is that the clones are so brainwashed that they're gonna just all follow the order unquestioningly, then what exactly is the difference between that and the chip mechanically speaking?
No, there's no nuance at that point.
Well, the chip makes it so more interesting because like now it's like through the Clone Wars we've seen like these clones who just are slaves to the Republic. Just they've lived. There's like arcs with them. You have the whatever the glowy dark planet is. I forgot that arc, but you have that one.
Mara.
You have the one with Boyle where he like sees this kid and like helps it. Like you see they grow attachments. They have quote unquote free will to do things, but then it makes it more tragic to see it just get stripped for them, like because like the Sith are like it's time, like this, like, and the idea that like the Jedi's influence on them and the talk Yoda has with the 3 clones makes them more individualistic and makes some clones resist the chip almost for a moment. Like Rex denies it for like a couple seconds before he goes completely berserk. And that just makes the Jedi more interesting, that like their compassion makes these people more individualistic.
Southpaw, your mic's being a bit weird there. But yeah, I agree with you, Andrew. Like it's just a thing of like people who argue that the chips strip any kind of like themes or depth out of it. That's always been nuts to me because I'm like the concept of being bred from birth to be a slave race of soldiers who have no rights legally or otherwise, and your only purpose is to die in combat, and you've got accelerated aging and all that. And then you don't even have names. And then you're given individuality. You're given a measure of purpose. Like people actually hold you in like affection. You form real bonds. You start to think about what the end of the war and the aftermath of the war is going to be like. There are even some senators about talking about like trying to get you guys citizenship because of your service, only for you to be turned into killing machines that kill your only friends and mentors, and then slowly, as the chips start degrading, wake up to the fact that you've done that. You've just killed like any hope for yourself, all of your friends. You've ushered in fascism, which apparently was the thing you were supposed to be fighting, going slowly nuts. I think that's really tragic, and there's a lot of really cool stories you can tell with that. I just don't see that you lose anything by doing the chips, but you only gain.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody replied to Southpaw's mic issue and said it's the IDF entering his house.
It's ice kicking in Southpaw's door.
I don't know why they would have anything against me though. I'm training Krav Maga.
Guys.
I can beat on Palestinian children just as well as any of them.
I step away for 5 minutes. What the fuck is happening? I saw you guys talking about inhibitor chips. I just randomly that became a tangent that happened while I stepped away.
I brought up my Elon Musk mind chip that I have in my brain.
Okay. I'm not unpacking that.
Sheev, did you gotta take a piss and then somebody went right next to you at the urinal?
And I said, diabolical urinal placement. No, guys, listen to me. So the reason I had to step away is because I got a fucking knock on my door, and I was like, "Who the?" Oh. For those of you who don't know, some of you probably do because you live in the States and you're probably getting hit with it too. But it's like there's a cold front happening right now, and it's bad. Mm-hmm. Where I am, it's like 5 degrees out right now, and I'm in one of the better parts of the country, I think. Someone knocks on my door, and I open it, and it's a guy just in a suit with like a briefcase. He's not wearing like any kind of like bundled up clothing. He's trying to fucking sell me shit, and I was like, "What are you doing?" He was just,
dude. That's the actual.
Shot him.
I don't know what that was. I was just like, "Can you? No, I don't want. Go home." It's cold out. It's 5 degrees.
Might just have bugged your house.
I don't know what to say about that. That was weird. Anyway, here we are.
That was an experience.
Anyway,
but he didn't piss next to you,
I guess.
And I think consider it like elevated Star Wars. Like I've heard a lot of folks, like even Patton Oswalt recently said it's like he loves Star Wars, but Andor's on another level. I mean, I think that literally implies
Patton Oswalt
that he considers it to be elevated genre, right? And I think there are folks out there that really don't like the sort of Star Wars slop, right? Going back to that example of Kenobi, this idea that if you just go back to Kenobi and you go back to Vader and you do young Luke and you do young Leia and you do, you know, Dave Filoni Rebels Inquisitor stuff, I think there's an idea that is just inherently slop. And if
No. Let's not make this argument.
Oh,
No one ever said that those shows are inherently slop. It just happens to be that they are slop because they're incompetently made. And he's doing that thing. I know where he's going with this. He's doing that thing where he says the only reason people, I guess, have the obligation to like Andor is because it is quote-unquote elevated art. It's not slop because it's actually, like, well shot, well directed, great cinematography, great acting. You know, it's like, it's auteur, you know? So you have to be pretentious about it and wear your beret, your French hat, and you eat cheese and drink wine, and you have to...
Yum.
I see where he's going with this, but I'm like, no, nobody is saying Andor is great because it's not the same caliber of slop as the rest of these fucking terrible Star Wars shows. They're just saying it's great because it's great. And they're calling those other things slop because they happen to be slop. There's no... Like, there's really nothing... It's a very simple thing. There's nothing further to it than that. I promise you.
Yeah, there's not some kind of conspiracy where like all the pretentious French auteurs got together in a big meeting hall while we smoked our cigarettes and drank our wine, and we're like, you know what would be funny is if we just like buoyed up Andor and shit on the main characters of the rest of Star Wars. Wouldn't that be fun?
You think that meeting didn't happen because you weren't invited. I happen to know because I'm the one who called it together. No, I see.
Jokes from my has-been script. You hack.
Oh, I forgot about that. I'm sorry. Jolly's making a has-been video. Everyone go watch that when it comes out.
Wait, when is that happening?
It's in the process of being made. I had to delay it a couple of weeks because I got a fairly intensive actual job that suddenly got very busy again, but I'm back on it now.
Oh, gotcha.
Jane.
Cool.
Imagine having a job, a J*B.
Bro, don't use that language around me, bro.
I need a new job.
I remember when I met Madvocate and his girlfriend for lunch last summer, and he decided to pay for the lunch, which was very generous. Thank you, Madvocate. And he dropped the money on the table, and he was like, "I'm unemployed." And I was like, well.
Did I say that?
You did. Well, no, I think it was like I asked your girlfriend what she does for work, and she answered, and then you were like, and then there's me, and I'm unemployed. And I was like, oh, well.
Madvocate just drops a $50 bill on like the tabletop and stared you dead in the eye. I was like, I am unemployed. I want you to know this as you take my money, you piece of shit.
So somebody in the chat is making a claim that Has Been Hotel is unironically more watchable than most Star Wars slop. Does that apply after season 2? Because I'm not sure.
I still think it does, actually. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah, I'll give it to Has-Been. It's more watchable.
I like...
In the sense of, like, there's more stuff that you can turn your brain off and enjoy, like the musical quality, but
I like
True. Season 2, fuck, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway,
oh, God.
Back to it.
Carry on. I think when we get halfway through the video, I'm going to pause it to read out the super chats we've accrued so far, but I'm gonna wait a little further.
I'll probably go eat.
Okay. Yeah, that'll probably take like 10 minutes or so.
For
10
hours.
fans believe that is why Star Wars has been failing, and that attempt by the Kenobi show is Star Wars slop, then I can totally see how a show like Andor and the concept of Andor and the way that Andor uses its visual language, the way it's organizing its ideas, conflicts, and narrative, right? That would be super appealing. Like, if you think that Kenobi slop and all this like lightsaber stuff is slop and all this...
No, Kenobi isn't slop because it has lightsabers in it. It's slop because it's fucking terrible. Stop conflating these things. I see what you're doing. It's not going to work.
Star Wars fans are regressed and they're stuck in the, at age 6 or whatever, and like you want elevated genre.
Given what I know he says later in the video, this is such a funny tangent he's making.
Well, it's a funny...
He's going like, oh, you're accusing us all of being little babies, like who never grew up, and then he's going to make the argument he makes later.
Well, it's a tangent. It's a funny tangent already because again, like I've dealt with people who don't like Andor, people like fucking Star Wars Theory, that Robot Head, that Star Wars Girl, fucking South by, all about that Star Wars Girls Andor discussions. I know that. And like, no, it's like, no, the reason we're saying that like people like that are fundamentally still children is because they're acting like children about Andor and about Star Wars generally. It's not because they're like, it's not because of any, it is because they're set in their ways, but it's not because like I don't know. I don't like the way he's framing this. We're saying that about Star Wars fans because they're acting like that. Like, actual Star Wars fans are 12 years old.
Yep.
Yeah, it's a tweet, right, of like the world is suffering from a big problem right now called everyone is a 5-year-old. And the Star Wars community is like the proof of that.
Yeah.
The Star Wars IP, then yeah, I can totally understand why you like Andor. So I don't like Andor. I don't consider
was a
it to be
weird
Star
cut.
Wars, but I'm not sitting up here arguing that Andor isn't good. Like, there are just subjective things. Like, I've seen it. I haven't watched the whole thing, which might piss some of you off. Like, how could you even make these comments? Just enough, I think, to know what it is. But from what I've seen, and not just in like the actual show, but the clips that are shared and everything, like, Andor has redeeming qualities for sure. I'd go as far as to acknowledge that I bet those last 6 episodes.
That is really funny. It's like, it's not wholly terrible. Fuck you, Josh.
Is it good or is it bad, Josh? Can you make up your fucking mind?
Well, he's doing that thing again that Star Wars Theory does, where he's like, I like it, guys. I swear, it's well made.
Guys.
And then every time he says literally anything about it, he's like, yeah, it's bad.
Just fucking say something conclusive, you fucking pussy. Like, Jesus.
Well, yeah, jumping off of that, there's something like really dishonest about the way he's framing this, right? Because like, the very title of his video is like, I'm going to scientifically, quote unquote, objectively prove that, like, my opinion about this is the right one. But the second he got into talking about like the supposed merits of Andor, he puts his fingers up and he does quotation marks around the word good, and he's like, oh, subjectively, some people might think it's good, but and it has redeeming qualities. So I'm like, oh, fuck off.
Jolly, you actually misinterpreted him. He wasn't putting quotation marks around good. He was putting them around the word show. This is actually not a show. It happened in real life. He was there.
Yeah, he was there. Him and John Andor went out together and killed.
They shot a cop, and then they killed another cop, and then it was
Bagel is asking why I sound like I'm speaking from the ether. It's because I am.
Yeah, he's not. He's on his phone.
To the Shadow Realm.
He's not allowed to have real technology. He's not a YouTuber anymore.
No,
dude, my laptop is such a fucking piece of shit. I'm gonna eat that thing.
Do it.
Yeah.
Hang on. I'm sorry. It's such a piece of shit. You're going to eat it. I have questions about.
Do you not eat pieces of shit?
Activities.
He's got an interesting palate.
I have a scat fetish.
It's called consolidating.
It's just see doing the Happy Gilmore thing of like, I eat pieces of shit like you for breakfast. Like, you eat pieces of shit for breakfast?
No.
That's beautiful.
Actually really incredible. Like, that's sort of the narrative when it was coming out. Most people were like, yeah, I don't know, this season 2, whatever. But then those back 6, oh my god. So I am not.
No, that wasn't the narrative. That was like you and your specific like circle of quote unquote critics. Yeah. Like it's again, that's like what Robot Head did, where he was like, yeah, everyone unanimously agreed that season 2 started off pretty weak. It was pretty boring. It wasn't very, most people didn't really like it. And then the Gorman Massacre happened, and that was action packed. So therefore, everyone liked the show after that. And I was like, no, you're just a fucking child. You're doing the thing again. You're being a child.
There was action and shooting and things.
There definitely wasn't action in the first arc, right, where Cassian stole the TIE fighter and had to deal with the rebels that were, holding him captive, and there weren't, the Imperials trying to kill his friends on the foreign planet. There's no action there, so.
Oh, it says lousy shirt. Okay, all right, sorry, I got distracted. I saw what it said.
I mean, that was bothering me all day, so.
I really need to see the space above his head instead of like being able to read his shirt.
Yes. Well, I mean, he's got to show off all his fucking merch that he's collected over the years. Look at that. He's got a Doctor Doom helmet. He's got Magneto. Got Iron Man.
Dude, I'm a nerd. I swear.
Yeah, am I the only one who finds that really annoying? Whenever I see like a critic YouTuber,
you're not the only one. I promise.
In front of their giant pile of memorabilia, and I'm like, that just comes across so fake and forced. Like, either that's all genuinely stuff you wrote, in which case you're sad and you need to spend money on better things, or that's just like a prop department you've assembled to try and convince everyone of your nerd credentials. And either way, it's really cringe. Please don't do that.
I mean, okay. I'll step up to bat a little bit, because like I look at my bookshelf right now, and on my bookshelf I have little bits of like knickknacks here and there. I've got the fucking puffer pig that I bought at Disneyland last summer.
That was a mistake.
No, fuck you. It was great. I got that sitting on my shelf.
Squishable.
I've got like a fucking Darth Vader toy. I got an R2 toy.
But Sheev, that's your bookshelf though. That's not like you have set up a dedicated
yeah,
to record that you have soundproofed and then assembled all of your relevant props behind you to make yourself seem more authoritative.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is that like I've thought before, like if I were to ever do videos where I film myself on camera, I might use that as like a background because I just like the way it looks, you know. But like that is obviously different from what he's doing. He's set up a dedicated room to this, and it's like it does feel very forced, doesn't it?
I just want to say that I feel very called out because I'm in a room with a fucking Lego City behind me.
No, but we're authentic nerds, I think is the point Jolly's making.
No, this guy's a loser.
Yeah.
We're doing it for the love of the game. He's doing it because he wants to look like a nerd.
True.
He has a Spider-Man comic. He's a virgin.
Yeah. Southpaw's not buying that Lego to impress anyone online. He's just buying it because he has a problem and
He
needs
needs
to go to therapy.
He does need help. It's the fucking Lego and the pizza. That's what fucking trips me up, dude.
You know what's really funny was the time when I ordered like $3,000 worth of Lego, and I
remember
asked you guys
this.
to, like, guess how much, and like you guys were like freaking out.
You
like,
had
how much-
no. Listen to me.
more.
You had at the time $8,000 worth of medical debt that you still needed to pay off, and you spent $3,000 on Lego.
That's bro.
Obviously,
You know what? While we're calling out Southpaw, this motherfucker doesn't absolutely hate Zootopia 2. He thinks it's funny. Fucking dumbass.
I do.
I'm gonna kill him.
and I think his beard is too brown. Fuck you,
He
Southpaw.
poisoned our water supply.
He
The whole
defecated through a
$3,000
sunroof.
Whilst $8,000 in medical debt sounds like a subplot from like The Pit season 2. Like, they're just treating like someone for like a gunshot wound, and they're like, oh, I see you don't have medical insurance, and you're like, well, I'm in $8,000 of debt, and they're like, oh, that's tough, and they're like, could you not scrape any money together? It's like, well, I do have $3,000 worth of Lego I just bought, and then like,
And then Dr. Robbie looks over at the fake camera
face
and
palms.
Nah, Whitaker would like dab him up though. Like, nah, my man.
he'd be like, "What's that?"
Wait, hold on. Somebody's accusing Sheev of being racist. That's so based.
Yeah, I said that Southpaw's beard was too brown, which, you know, to be fair, I'm going to stand by that. Fuck you.
Yeah, you need to play in it. You need to embrace your Silver Fox arc.
Indeed.
Somebody's asking if Southpaw will be invited to the Zootopia 2 video. He was, and then he left. The coward. I mean, I'm not making that video because I don't give a shit anymore, but still, the coward.
Honestly, I actually would be willing to like jump back into making that video, but like, I mean, if only you were actually making it.
Yeah, it's going to be made at some point, maybe, and it'll probably just end up being a fucking shitpost video where I spend 40 minutes probably just, like, puking on camera.
They gave the rabbit
As God intended.
I think that's more artistically
Yeah.
valuable than anything Josh from Den of Nerds has said so far in the last 7.5 minutes of video.
You know, he's still got 8 minutes and a bit. Not and change. Let's see where he goes.
When does he make the whimsical argument, Jolly?
Oh, towards the end, yeah.
Okay.
No spoilers. No spoilers. I haven't gotten there yet. I haven't seen this video.
Throw one to
I am
little
not-
Lindsay.
To be fair, I had hoped that this would be more, like, entertainingly stupid. That's why I didn't bother watching it, because I wanted you guys to all get my live reaction.
yeah.
But so far, it's just been him making nothing points. It's kind of any other video that I'd expect from this guy.
The end.
We'll see. We'll see.
Saying
Cynical.
that other Star Wars like Kenobi is better. I'm not even saying that Ahsoka is better, but I'm saying that what Andor is does not feel like Star Wars to me. Now, I'm
Okay.
gonna explain that because I think that's such
Rips
a weird
my
thing to say.
balls
A lot of
off.
people sort of criticize others for bringing this up.
Let's hear him out.
This is a thing, and a lot of people are like, "Can you even define that?" And I've been thinking about this for a
No,
long
you can't.
time of how to explain exactly what I mean when I say feel like Star Wars. And I think I have the best version of that I've ever come up with. I can't promise you it's going to make everybody understand, but it's the best version of
Okay, this feels like a cop-out already, because, like,
But it's backed up by
your,
science.
Your
Is it
title and
not?
thumbnail said, "I am scientifically proving that this show is not Star." You don't get to then be like, "No, okay, I'm not the smartest cookie in the cookie jar." Like, you don't.
Just imagine him saying this.
Don't
like
take my word for it.
One original thought in his mind.
He's like, "Guy,
You know
I've
what?
had a profound
You know who-
thought. If anyone would care to listen."
You know who actually has used science in their breakdown of a series? It's Madvocate. The fucking cicada attack.
Man, and I thought Colin's video on AI was next level fucking nothing crap.
but this one, it's cinema.
I haven't watched the
Well,
Solan's AI video.
He's
and
about to get to his quote-unquote argument, so let's see what he says.
Let's do it.
Explaining that I've ever been able to articulate. I think the best way to explain this is to talk about grammar, okay?
God.
Grammar as
What?
you
Hold on.
understand it.
Okay.
Whoa.
Let him cook.
To understand, I must explain how language works.
Indeed.
Okay.
Synonym roles, just like grammar used to make.
Is a set of rules or a set of expectations that guide the language that you use. So language is about communication, but it's more than just communicating the information that you have to say. There are things like tone, there are things like association, and grammar.
My mind is
rules
fucking
that you
exploding.
mostly know at an intuitive level. You don't necessarily.
So
Stop. Oh, that was actually a person this time. Sorry.
Yeah. I mean, I said stop, but no one stopped it, so I just jumped in.
Well, yeah.
I was being polite, and you were getting annoyed that people were pressing the button, so I decided I'd leave it to you. But no, it's fine.
No, I don't mind people pressing the button. It's just I hate when it keeps pausing and then nobody fucking says anything. And I'm like, why did that happen?
Anyway, the thing I love here is like, oh, language isn't just about conveying information; it's also about tone, and I'm like that tone is conveying information. What do you think that's for?
Also, this feels like, I don't know if you've ever seen that clip of I'll show it to you after, but there's a clip of Jordan Peterson talking about a movie, and then he, like, at the end, he just like throw like that 5-minute monologue that he went on. He just explained what a movie is. This has that same vibe. Just it's defining language.
The concept of montage.
The concept.
Man, I loved having
already taking
explain montage. That was amazing.
I'm already just taking severe umbrage, right? Because he's trying to draw like delineations that just don't exist. Where it's like, oh yeah, tone isn't conveying information. You know, communication isn't just about conveying information. I'm like, no, it is. That's literally the entire purpose of it. That's what it is. That is it. That's the whole enchilada. I don't know what we're doing here.
So that's what he's doing then, right? Because he's doing the thing which, you know, he's correctly identifying that the purpose of any piece of art is to communicate an idea, right? And that's what storytelling is. That's what you're supposed to be doing, is conveying themes and ideas. And so what he's doing right now, I think this is where he's going, is he's saying Star Wars has a very distinct language that it uses to convey its own themes, and Andor does not speak that language.
Yeah, that is basically where he's going to end up going.
Oh.
Spoiler alert, I guess.
I have.
Where he's like, yeah, there is... Oh, sorry.
I'd also just disagree with that too.
Oh no, I have plenty of problems with that as an idea, but like, I just want to hear him lay it out.
Yeah. I mean, you know what, I'll let him lay it out, and then I'll give the criticism I gave to Andrew when I was describing this.
Okay.
Don't necessarily even understand the actual mechanics that guide like the syntax of a sentence or the grammar or the grammatical correctness of a statement. You can literally sort of just feel when a sentence is not right, and this feeling actually guides how you mostly speak, and it guides how you understand others. Like, let me give you an example. So if I say to you, "Me go store today," you
no, but that's
Doing?
Are you 12?
That's you using grammar incorrectly, though. That's not.
Well, that's sort of the argument he's making. Let him play it out, and then I'll explain why it's complete horseshit.
Okay.
Technically get what I'm saying. The information has been communicated, but there's just a feeling of offness that you kind of get. You're like, that's kind of off. Similarly,
you know what's annoying about this? I promise I'll let it play, but you know what's annoying about this is that this is an actual good argument to make when talking about why things like plot structure being cohesive is like a good thing, you know? Because, like, yeah, art is about communicating themes and ideas. So if I were to say, me go to the store, you technically understand what I'm saying, but it's not a well-constructed sentence in the same way that, like, you know, a movie can get across themes. Like, you can understand what a movie was going for, but it still wasn't well executed because it was done poorly, you know?
Well, the thing about that, where it's like, oh, I've conveyed the information. It's like, no, actually, you haven't. What you've done is you've conveyed a sentence that is broken in way. Like, it's a broken sentence, right? But it's conveying, the individual words are conveying meaning that is close enough to what you're saying that we can intuitively leap to see that what you were trying to say. But that's where the sense of offness comes in our heads, right? Of like, it is wrong. We know it's wrong. It's not the correct information. but we mentally substitute it. Once we understand that, once we have that feeling of dissonance and go, that's not right, we mentally check it against our own store of language and concepts and go, oh, this is what he meant to say.
Yeah. And that's where, like, a film will falter, where, like, The Last Jedi is the obvious example, where it's like, I get the theme you were going for here, the greatest teacher, failure is, whatever. You did not do a good job conveying that theme. And the only reason I understand, like, that was the theme you were going for is just because I have seen a movie before, and you're also explicitly laying it out to me, because that's the only way to communicate it in your eyes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, let him finish out the point. I'll give my rebuttal.
Yeah, I'll let him. I just wanted to say that because, like, it's annoying that he's using this argument when it's an actual good argument that you'd have, like, to apply elsewhere, but not to what he's trying to do.
Well, yeah, he's bastardizing a good argument and in the wrong place.
Yeah.
When you hear people speak languages that they didn't like natively grow up speaking, or maybe they're a foreigner to coming into a certain country or whatever, oftentimes they will get to a point where even when they speak the language sort of quote unquote well, there's like a feeling you can get at the way they say certain things that intuitively means there's just something wrong about it. Like it just sticks out to you. You might not even be able to explain it. There are even weird rules for how adjectives are supposed to be ordered. Like, you wouldn't say the brown old chair, you would say the old brown chair, and you probably don't even know why, but you have a feeling that one is correct and one is wrong. Grammar is a sort of set of rules that you don't even fully understand, and yet it's really easy to feel when the grammar of something is off. Similarly, stories have a grammar. They have a set of rules and a set of expectations. They use ordering and tone and syntax to explain not just what the story is about, but how the story unfolds. Horror movies have a grammar. Action movies have a grammar. Science fiction movies, fantasy movies, comedies, romance movies, they all have with them a sort of grammar, a sort of set of rules and expectations. So I would argue that Star Wars specifically has a story grammar. And to me,
Okay.
Rowan's never in his life ever done any form of genre study.
He's talking about tropes, basically.
No, it's worse than that. So basically, what he's doing there, the way I described this to Andrew was like, this is reheated Maulerism. This is the absolutist take of objectivity that I fundamentally think is fucking nuts. What he is arguing, so he's correctly identified that within our culture, which is, say, broadly speaking, English-speaking Western culture, we have particular tropes, particular grammars of, like, of film, and they apply to different genres in certain ways. So, like, we would tend to structure a horror movie in certain ways, using certain cinematography or certain kind of dialogue, or certain kind of like bits and pieces that just identify it and allow us easily to identify it. But what he's taking from that, though, is not that, oh yeah, but that's a learned thing, right? That's a cultural thing, and it changes over time as we as a culture change and the language changes and the way in which we perceive art changes. Instead, he's got, no, there's just like one way, objectively, universally, biologically, naturally. There's just one way that we all understand horror movies or comedy movies or whatever, or sci-fi movies should work intuitively. And therefore we sense when something does that it's wrong, that it's not doing the right language, and it feels bad and shouldn't be done that way. And he then jumps and goes, and you know what else has its own specific language that is innate like that? Star Wars. And if you deviate from that Star Wars language, then you're not speaking Star Wars, and it's wrong for Star Wars.
Well, like, okay. The thing is, I don't agree with, the, like, absolutism of it. But, like, at the same time, I would sympathize with you if, we're talking about, like, a horror movie, and then it uses just comedy tropes every which way, and it isn't, like, horror at all. It's not doing, I guess, the quote-unquote language of horror, but it's trying to be a horror movie. Like, I can watch that, and I could be like, this doesn't feel like a horror movie, and I don't know why you're trying to make it a horror movie when you clearly don't want it to be one based on the things that you're doing in the film. Like, I get that, and I think that is a sound thing to say, right? Like, if someone took Paul Blart Mall Cop and said, this is supposed to be a horror movie, by the way. Like, if you sat down, the guy who made Paul Blart and said, and he was like, yeah, that was meant to be a horror movie. Did you not find it scary? I'd be like, no. It was supposed to be? You know, so
the
I
thing is,
get that.
I'm going to push back a little on your pushback. Because, like, it's one thing to recognize that we have all been not indoctrinated, that's the wrong word, like inculcated, I guess, with a certain kind of grammar that we naturally leap to when we're watching certain tropes, you know. But even then, like, the salient point here is, like, those aren't absolutes, they change over time, and we can be wrong. Like,
no,
you know,
absolutely.
We can be taught. I mean, like, Bly Manor is like a really good example of this, right? Loads of people watch Bly Manor and were like disappointed because, like, oh, it's not really a horror, it's a drama, you know, it's not spooky or anything. It's just, you know, there weren't enough jump scares. There weren't, like, you know, where's all the horror tropes that would make it a horror? And if you think that, like, I'm sorry, but you're just wrong, because there's plenty of things there that are horrifying. There are plenty of things that are, like, existentially terrifying. Just because it's not doing oogie boogie nonsense doesn't mean it's not a horror.
We gotta stop the grongler.
I think the comparison with, like, this argument with Andor is, like, so, like, yeah, I'll bring up Pirates of the Caribbean because C's here. the way in which the dialogue is written in the Pirates of the Caribbean, specifically the first three, is it doesn't matter how much, like, their emphasis isn't on what they're saying, it's the rhythm of how they're saying it. Pirates of the Caribbean dialogue has a lot of rhythmic essence to it. Like, they'll make sentences longer so that it can fit a beat that character has. And the reason why the last two are so jarring and also bad is because that rhythm's gone. Like, they just start talking more traditional, I guess, when it's like they kind of lost their rhythm. And
start talking like a Marvel movie by the fifth movie.
Yeah. And I guess the argument that he's saying is that that's also true with this, which...
No.
Yeah, no. I think Andor's dialogue has a different tone than the other shit, because that other shit is shit. And I think that's specifically because all the shit that we've gotten is trying to raise the corpse that is George Lucas's doctored dialogue to make sense.
Well, okay,
right?
okay. I'm just... Because... Okay, just to use dialogue as the example. I mean, obviously there's going to be other aspects of the production besides that, obviously. But, like, just to stick with dialogue, I don't think dialogue has ever really been the strong point of Star Wars. Like, even in the original trilogy, it's got some really weird, like, why did they write that? So if you were to then, if I were to show you Andor, where, the dialogue is really snappy and witty and sharp, and it's very, like, poignant in a lot of places, and it, like, every single line has, like, 7 different things you can extrapolate from it, from, like, a character perspective and a theme perspective and a plot perspective. Like, it's really good dialogue. If I were to show you that and you were to go, well, that doesn't have the language of Star Wars because the dialogue is good, I'd be like, I mean, fuck you. Like, what do you want from me at this point? Like, I don't...
And I actually even argue the dialogue in Andor, I think it's purposely different because we're seeing an angle of the universe that we haven't seen before. And I think the dialogue not only becomes stronger as the show goes, but also it does fall in line with more traditional Star Wars dialogue as it goes, because that's thematic to Andor and his journey through the story. Like, at the end of the show, the line "May the Force be with you" is in it, and I feel like that's very purposeful in terms of how the dialogue has evolved since the first episode. Like, I feel like there's a purpose to the dialogue maybe not feeling as traditional as it's supposed to be. I feel like that's an intention.
Sure. Well, but that like comes back to the fundamental aspect that I feel like we're going to get further into as Josh here makes his point, but, like, I just don't agree that there even is one single, like, language of Star Wars.
No. Yeah, like, the prequels feel far different than the OG because Lucas was, like, just let to do whatever the fuck he wants. The Clone Wars is... Yeah, the Clone Wars was incredibly, like, snarky and quippy dialogue. Acolyte kind of just tried to regurgitate all of that shit together. Mando has a very Reddit feel to it because, this is the way shit. The books feel completely different in terms of how people talk.
Well, it depends on what era of book. Like, if you're talking about like the 90s era with, like, Bantam Spectra publishing, a lot of that dialogue is a lot more akin to what you'll find in the original trilogy, because that's what it's basing off of in terms of trying to tell Star Wars stories. There weren't any other Star Wars stories at the time.
Mm-hmm. And actually with Fallen Order, I think that game and its dialogue uses it to show a lot of the differences between the angles of the universe. Because what's the four-armed guy? I forgot.
Grease?
Ray. Yeah, Grease talks way differently than, Cal and
yeah, it's almost
the other girl is.
It's almost like fucking Star Wars is set in a very big galaxy with a lot of different cultures, so it would be weird if every single person talked exactly the same way.
Mm. And even the humor in that is different than anything we've seen before. Like, they have a lot of physical humor in that game. And I think the reason why Andor can be jarring is because we're really only seeing the universe from, I guess, the Grease angle, where everyone kind of talks like that, like, because there's no Jedi to be like, the Force moves.
Don't center on your anxieties.
Yeah.
May I just try and draw my point together with the point both you're making, because I think they tie into each other quite nicely, which is, the source, I think, of our anger here is, like, you're saying, like, it's annoying because there isn't one language of Star Wars, and I agree there isn't. But, like, the reason there isn't one language of Star Wars is, like, there isn't objectively one language of anything to do with art. Like I said, it changes over time, and it's all about the audience you're going for. So if he was like, this isn't Star Wars to me, this doesn't fit my understanding of Star Wars, that would be an objectively true statement that he's making, because, like, it's not his language of Star Wars. But, like, so the comparison I'll draw is, like, anime. I don't like anime. I don't really watch anime. I'm not going to stand here and be like, anime is an objectively bad art form, because that's just not true. The reason I don't engage well with anime is because I've grown up on a particular kind of cinematic language that is much more heavily built around, subtext and the nuances of language rather than visual display. Whereas anime is coming from a Japanese stage tradition of things like kabuki, which is, like, completely different. And so, like, its tropes, like, people constantly repeating their own thoughts out loud, is something I find really condescending and don't like. But it's just that, a Japanese or a Korean person just wouldn't view it that way, because they've grown up with a different language of cinema and a different language of the arts. And, that's fine for us to be like, for a Japanese audience, this is objectively the quote-unquote correct, at least for now, language, or it's objectively the incorrect language for me, etc. But what he's doing is effectively like someone being like, the only chocolate you can have is white chocolate. And I'm like, okay, but coffee chocolate exists, and that's also good. And I'm like, no, white chocolate is the only real
It's not chocolate!
Yeah, and then they wonder why we're accusing them of behaving like children, because, like, that's what we mean. Like, if you sit there insisting that your particular flavor, your particular language, your particular understanding of Star Wars is the only one that's, like, not only that Star Wars could do, but that it could ever be, that it just intrinsically is that thing, and that we're all somehow stupid for not understanding that, yeah, you're a child. I don't know what to tell you at that point. Like, you are just refusing to grow up, to develop your palate, to get complexity, to understand there are different viewpoints outside the ones you acquired when you were 5 years old.
Well, it's like, it's like, okay, I'm gonna go out on a limb here and assume this guy's a Marvel fan. I know that's a crazy, crazy conspiracy theory I'm hatching up. But just bear with me on this. I haven't read every fucking Marvel comic under the sun, and I feel like some people in this panel probably have a lot more experience with them than I do. But if you're a Marvel fan, like, reading the comics, keeping up with whatever shows or movies are coming out, and then the fucking MCU comes out and completely changes the landscape of what Marvel is in the eyes of general audiences. Like, you got the Whedon-esque fucking quippy dialogue everywhere. You got Tony and Steve talking like the way they do, the way that kind of everyone does in the first two Avengers films, right? The MCU fundamentally, and in a lot of ways, changed what Marvel quote unquote is and, like, what language it spoke to us through. But I don't think I don't think Josh, sitting there with his fucking Doctor Doom mask behind him, would say, yeah, the MCU isn't real Marvel because it's speaking a different language than what it did back in, I don't know, 1959.
I'd actually shoot myself if it still talked like the fucking old comics. So.
You know what I mean? It's like it evolved over time, like Jolly's saying. Like, as our culture progressed, so did the way Marvel chooses to communicate its themes, for better and for worse.
Mm-hmm.
I have two things to say that are tangentially related. One, somebody in the chat was referring to Andrew's example of Pirates of the Caribbean. It says that they really like Pirates of the Caribbean. It's like their comfort media. I have a YouTube channel I recommend. I'm not going to say who. But as well with that, too, I really do like that Josh, his argument, at this point, like, I don't know where it's going from here, but at this point, his argument really does boil down to the vibes were off, which is just like, man, I wanted science. I really wanted science. You promised me science, And now you killed Bill Nye the Science Guy, dude. You killed him.
You know, even just to keep it as like a Marvel example, like the thing that I would compare the most to Andor when it comes to the MCU would be Daredevil, the original show, because they're both fucking great. And like tonally speaking, there are a lot of differences between the way those shows carry themselves in relativity to the franchises in which they're respectively set. Obviously, Daredevil is very tonally different from a lot of like phases 2 and 3 of the MCU. But if Josh over here was trying to be like, yeah, but the Daredevil show from Netflix isn't Marvel or isn't the MCU, just because it's communicating its themes in a way that, like, you know, Age of Ultron doesn't, I'd be like, go fucking kill yourself. I don't know what to tell you.
Real?
By the way, Chief, you said you want to do super chats at the halfway point.
Yeah, I didn't. Well, because the fucking flow of conversation. I can do it right now, though. I've been.
I just thought I'd remind you.
I've been collecting them.
We haven't gotten to the science yet.
We'll get to the science, but first we're gonna do super chats. Everyone,
no, that was the science.
Was that the science?
That was the science.
No, okay.
He didn't even put on his lab coat.
I don't know why we're expecting so much from a guy who thought he had to define what language is.
Well, just in case you were born yesterday, you know, you
never
never know.
If you heard of this thing called
It's the
grammar?
internet, man.
There's this radical new invention. We call it language.
Quite astonishing concept.
Dude, it's been great.
All right, everyone who doesn't need to be here for the super chats or doesn't want to be, fucking take your piss breaks, grab a snack. Because this is gonna,
people tacos.
This is probably gonna take like 5 to 10 minutes. We've gotten a lot of super chats.
Dude, I'm gonna take
Thank you, Papa Sheep.
So the first one from unknown V1N2K for $10 said, plan on doing a retrospective on Rogue One for its 10th anniversary. Also, why only doing a retrospective of TLJ in 2027 instead of immediately after The Force Awakens like you did with the prequels? So to answer the first question, I'm probably going to do a Rogue One video. It just depends on how things shake up this year because, like, I guess to kind of spoil future projects that are currently in the works, I want to start doing my Andor breakdown finally. And I think it would be a little awkward to just, you know, like do a video breaking down like arc 1 of season 1 of Andor and maybe even arc 2 and then immediately jump to Rogue One like at the end of the year. I don't know that I want to do that. So I might not do a 10-year retrospective for Rogue One when I had planned to, just because, you know, it would serve better, I think, to do like as a sort of finale capping off the Andor series, which will be years down the line. But, you know, I think that just makes more sense. Maybe it'll even be a 20-year retrospective by the time I get to that. And as for the second point, the reason I'm not doing a TLJ until 2027 is because I got other shit I want to do. I'm going to do A New Hope next year for its 50th, and I've got this fucking Stranger Things video I'm working on, and like I said, I want to do Andor videos. I just got other shit I want to do. Ahsoka 2, Mando and Grogu, Darth Maul show. I mean, this is going to be a packed year. I just don't have time right now. It'll get its turn. But thank you for the super chat. And then we got one from Reginald Schrute for $5. Yeah, that's a great name, yeah. First time super chat. Hope y'all are staying warm. Sheev, what would you give The Force Awakens on a 1 to 10 scale? I don't remember you saying either of yours in either of your videos. Well, I think I did. I'd give it a 2. Did I forget to give it a number score? Sometimes I forget to give my fucking things number scores when I do long videos, and I watch it back later, and I'm like, oh shit, I forgot to give that a number score.
I don't actually remember if you gave it a number score, but yeah, I mean, like, I can confirm that Sheep and I have discussed this at length, and we both give it a 2.
Yeah. I mean, it and The Last Jedi are both 2s, and I would still, like, say that they're probably neck and neck in terms of quality. So
yeah, I'm minded to give the edge to TLJ as being a slightly better movie by like 0.01 or something.
Yeah.
But like, it's basically negligible.
Yeah, by the way, if any more super chats come in, like while I'm reading these out, can someone let me know? Because I'm reading these off my phone, which is where I was collecting them from while looking at the chat. So
there have been 2 since you started talking, but they both were. They both don't have any text. Oh no, one's got text, but one of them doesn't.
Oh, I see. Yes. I'll just screenshot that and I'll get to it at the end. Okay, screenshotting that. Anyway, thank you for the super chat. Moving on. One from Malevolent Spirit 234 for $5. Sheevan Gang, have you guys ever played the Old Republic MMO, not KOTOR? Andor really got me to replay the Imperial Agent story.
I have played it. It's not good.
Yeah,
I'm a massive KOTOR fan. I'm of that age bracket where like they came out when I was like old enough and to really be into them and young enough to play them. I have a lot of affection for KOTOR. I think the Old Republic is horrendous and damages the lore probably as badly, not quite as badly, but almost as badly as the sequels do.
Really?
Some really stupid shit. Like like Vitiate.
Oh yeah,
Old Republic.
I know about Vitiate, and I know generally some stuff that happened in that game, or that MMO rather, and from what I know, it's not good.
Split into light side and light side and dark side halves that were like two distinct personalities. That was bizarre.
This is one of the reasons why it's so hard for me to get into the Old Republic era games, because like I understand KOTOR is supposed to be like one of the best things Star Wars has ever made, and it probably is. But every time I feel like, oh, I should commit hundreds of hours of my life to playing this game, then I'm like, but then like Star Wars: The Old Republic MMO exists, and it just kind of ruins that. So
I guess, but it's kind of like if someone was like, should I start watching... I've never watched Star Wars, should I watch the first 6 movies? And you're like, well, there's no point because the sequels exist. I'm like, no, I think you should still watch the first 6.
But I think it's a time devotion thing, because like you can watch the first 6 Star Wars movies, and it takes, I don't know, a few days if you really like get into it. With KOTOR, like that's a long time. It's a long game. You're committing a lot of time to that, you know? And then Remnacor gave a $10 super chat. Thank you very much, Remnacor. Wait till you guys hear that this guy didn't watch the last 6 episodes of season 2. Yeah. But of course, he's scientifically proving that this is a it's not Star Wars. Remnacor.
Super chats just came in, by the way.
Oh, let me collect those real quick. Okay.
While you're doing that, Southpaw, I won't name names, but Southpaw just sent me something really funny where it's like someone's listening in was like, I really like how that guy says chocolate. And all I could think of was that, like the Christopher Lee from the Charlie and the Chocolate Factory was like, candy is a waste of time. Oh, son of mine is going to be a chocolatier.
And then Remnacor sent another one for $5. He said, I was wrong. Josh hasn't even watched all of the first season. He's, quote, seen enough to, quote, know what it is, in parentheses, not Star Wars. I mean, this isn't my first rodeo with this. Like fucking my debate with JJ Plagiarism was literally that. Like, he saw the first season when it came out, and from what he's told me, did not even really pay it that much attention. And then, like he played Tetris on his phone while he was watching it. And then when it came to like actually rewatching season 1 for our debate, he just could not be fucking bothered. And I'm like, okay. And then the entire debate was just us, like me basically being like, this is what actually happens in the show since you don't seem to remember. And he goes, oh.
I'll never forget when I was in the VC with JJ Plagiarisms and, everyone started talking about where they're from and stuff. And I don't really like talking about that. So, I said I live in Gotham City. And then he got really, really angry at me, screaming, you don't fucking live in Gotham City. It's a fictional city from DC Comics. You fucking idiot. And I was like, dude, what? What the fuck?
Wedge, dude.
Still.
It's a card game. Dude.
I'm not doing it.
You've had one more super chat come in, by the way. we should get through these because they're coming in faster than
they're shooting them out now because they're like, oh, he's reading them off now. Fuck, let's go. All right, give me a sec. Collecting that. Got one from Daniel James Summers for £5. Videos like this make me wish Andor got its 5 seasons just to continuously annoy the Andor haters.
That would be great.
That would be nice, yeah. In a perfect
Especially because, like,
world.
by the end, it'll be like, we have spent nearly $2 billion on this season.
And all $2 billion of that was fucking worth it. One for BZ Music YT for £2. To Jolly, I'm playing Alien Isolation because of you. Thanks.
Ooh. You're very welcome. I'm glad I inspired someone to play it. It's a great game. People should play it more. It's now eventually, after like over a decade, it is now getting a sequel. I don't hold out much hope for that sequel because all the original team of the first game left, or left after the first one not doing well. But, you know, we live in hope. Maybe it'll be good. But even if it's not, that first game, really excellent. You should all go and get it.
It's going to be great. Ooh, okay. I got one from Pixel Joker 95, which, if you guys don't know who that is, he's the guy he spent the last, 4 years at this point reworking the Kenobi show into a movie.
Oh.
And, like, from all the behind-the-scenes stuff he's put out on YouTube and all the trailers he's put out, like, it looks like it could be something really good. And like I'm talking like he's reworking it, like the special effects are off the chart. He's basically completely changing like the content of the story and everything around that, from what I understand. So everyone should go look into that. Like I cannot wait for that. And I've told him I think I will review it, and I will review it honestly when it comes out. So yeah, everyone keep an eye out for Pixel Joker 95. And he sent his super chat in. Sorry.
No. I'll save it.
All right, he sent a super chat saying, "Here's a scientific way to look at this. Ryan Johnson said Star Wars is goofy. Andor isn't goofy. Therefore, Andor isn't Star Wars."
That's real, you know, like all men are mortal, my guinea pig is immortal, therefore my guinea pig is a man type arguments.
Oh, it's like, yeah, featherless biped, and then you're looking at a fucking cat standing on his hind legs, and you're like, yeah, well, technically.
A strips chicken, like behold a man.
Another one from Daniel James Summers for £5. Any hopes for the Simon Kinberg trilogy, since he said he was inspired by Andor? I don't even remember which one that is. I didn't even remember he was getting a trilogy, so I guess that answers your question. I don't know.
Did they only hand out these movies in trilogies? Everyone's getting like a trilogy, I swear. I was like, yeah, Ryan gets one, you get one.
Yeah.
You get a trilogy, and you get a trilogy. Everyone gets a trilogy.
Eventually, one of these are going to be made, I think.
I mean, like, eventually. It's bound to happen. Statistically, one of them has to eventually be made.
In terms of, like, upcoming projects that are still, like, kind of in the far-flung future, the only one I'm putting any eggs in the basket for in terms of, like, this is coming out is Starfighter, because it's actually being made. There's, like, tangible evidence of it being made. It's got Ryan Gosling playing the main character. Apparently Tom Cruise came in and filmed a scene. Tom Cruise filmed a scene for this movie. We'll see what that looks like. I don't know.
Directed by the guy who gave us Deadpool and Wolverine. It's gonna be...
Don't forget Stranger Things. Don't forget Stranger Things. He gave us that, too.
Wait. Directed Stranger Things?
Sean Levy, yeah, Sean Levy's been like at the helm of Stranger Things since it came out. He's been directing it. To his credit, he directed a lot of episodes in season 1, and they're very well made. So, you know, to do with that what you will.
When they still had the Shadow Writer.
Mm-hmm. From Handle 12 U4D for $9.99. Hey Sheev and panel, this video by Den of Nerds just reminds me of Mahler's video of Star Wars not growing up. Cameos and lightsaber battles don't make Star Wars, it's the story and characters. Yeah.
I mean, sure, but then Mahler is also in the bracket of people who've never grown up, so...
It's one of those, like, you know, throwing stones from glass houses thing where it's like, you aren't much better. Sorry. From Synergy for £20, is there anyone who actually dislikes Andor and have good arguments as to why they dislike it? I haven't seen anyone like that. Also, love your vids, Sheev. Please don't ever explode. By the way, Madvo, will you make a vid on Superman?
No.
All right.
Excellent.
There we have it.
That was crazy.
Oh, by the way,
I already defended it in a video. Like,
oh, that's
I don't know. I'm not
you
gonna
did, yeah. I remember that.
The that one super chat that was like, what was it? It was talking about Ryan Johnson said Star Wars is goofy, therefore whatever.
Mm-hmm.
That sentence was more scientific than anything None of Nerds has said yet.
Well, I mean, yeah, because it is technically taking, like, quote-unquote objectively real data and using that to form conclusions. Even if the conclusions are wrong, you're still, like, technically doing a scientific process of some kind.
You're trying to do a science, yeah.
You're doing a science. You have a stethoscope and you've got a little bottle. Blah blah blah. Delete that one because I already read it. Hugs Mando for $1.99. Does he think it's not Star Wars because no meme lines? I mean, maybe. I don't know. I'm not gonna just assign this guy every stupid criticism of Andor under the sun because for all we know, he doesn't believe X stupid thing. He just happens to believe Y stupid thing.
No,
and we should make fun of him for that.
I'm pretty sure he does believe in a lot of them.
Probably, but if he doesn't say it in this video, then he technically gets away with it.
We're gonna be good faith.
Nope.
Adam Kiss for $2 Canadian. Oh, that was just a. There's no message to that one. That's the one that you were talking about. Okay, whoops. And then we got.
Just being a generous boy.
Indeed, and thank you very much for that. One from Nathaniel Diaz, 5254 for £5. Would you agree that the MCU's equivalent to Andor in terms of quality are Daredevil and Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.? I'd say Daredevil. I would not say that about Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., no.
You know what? I'll say that about Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Yeah.
Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is not a very good show. I mean, it has its moments. It has its arcs that are pretty good.
Watch out, you're gonna be shit talked by Econ.
I know. I remember when they were trying to like convince
what a change
Madvocate.
that's gonna make to our lives.
I remember when they were trying to convince Madvocate that Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. was better than Daredevil, like simply because Daredevil has a weak second season, and I'm like, okay, but like Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. has all of season 7 and 8, so like don't fucking try that. I don't know what to tell you.
And then like the first half of season 1
also,
as well.
it's all relative, right?
Yeah.
Season 2 of Daredevil is weaker than the rest of it, but it's still compared.
It's still a really good show. Yeah,
it's still like a 7.
Yeah, we gave it a 7 when Southpaw Advocate and I rewatched it.
And the first 4 episodes of season 2 are still like some of the best of that show, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Everything.
Also, this isn't a super chat, but music here 3287 says Sheev talks and Jolly talking about people not growing up is hilariously ironic. Not when they're talking about a guy who still thinks that Captain America: Civil War is a masterpiece. Okay.
We've gotten so many more super chats since I started reading these. I need to collect some more real quick.
go,
guys, you guys are killing me here. Stop giving me your money. Okay, screenshotting those.
You got Max
okay.
Chapelaz is your next one for $5 Canadian.
Correct. And he said, if you were given full control of Star Wars, what is the first project you would make and why?
Do you want to go, Sheev?
You know what I would make? This is like my field of dreams in terms of like Star Wars that I want made. I want a relatively faithful... You'd have to change a few things to fit it into the canon, or maybe even just discard the canon, fuck the canon, fuck all the stupid, Filoni shows that are out there. But like, I want a relatively faithful adaptation of the Darth Plagueis novel, and either make it a live action, get like Tony Gilroy to write it or something, or what I'd really like to see from that is have it animated in kind of a similar way as the Genndy Tartakovsky Clone Wars show, and kind of have it be in that vein of like storytelling style, but like as an adaptation of the book, like a little mini series or something. I'd like that a lot.
I would like to do a mature Band of Brothers style TV show about the clones during the Clone War, live action, with like entirely new Jedi, no big characters that we met before, other than maybe as like very brief cameos or mentions. Like have the clones build up relationships and with each other, and to what's going on and to the Jedi under their command. Lead it into Order 66, like 4 or 5 seasons in, and then have 2 seasons after that exploring the psychology of the clones and what's going on in their heads post Order 66. I think that could be really good. Or I would get Tony Gilroy back and have him help me make a... So how after like World War... I said this to you before, Chief. Like, how after World War II, they had like a bunch of like early Mossad agents like running around the globe, like doing spy thriller stuff to find and bring to justice Nazis who'd gone into hiding.
Yeah.
Having a post Return of the Jedi rebels like intelligence cell. You could have it being led by Claire maybe, where she's like going around leading a team of increasingly unhinged people, hunting down Imperial war criminals and executing them in increasingly unjustifiable ways, and like have a talk about the kind of descent into savagery that comes with seeking revenge once a war is won. That could be really cool.
Well, kind of in that same vein, like a show about the establishment of the New Republic and like the final days of the war against the Empire and them toppling them. Following our main original trilogy heroes, it'd be like an animated show. I'd like that. I think that'd be really cool.
I would do a Han Solo show pre A New Hope.
You know, I want a Han Solo movie.
You know what's actually funny is that like that fucking Lando show or movie or whatever the fuck it's supposed to be that's supposedly still being made. Unironically, I would fuck with that. Like a comedic, like doesn't take itself too seriously show. You call it the Calrissian Chronicles. You have it just be like stupid not serialized, like episodic one-off adventure type show with maybe an overarching plot. But like it's clear that like Lando is an unreliable narrator, and maybe it's like Billy D. Williams talking about adventures that he went on after the fact. And like you establish that information he's giving us isn't always correct by like having him recount events from the original movies, but like in his own twisted way. Or like, okay, this guy's fucking with us. Like I think that would be really fucking cool. Yeah.
L3.
Oh, you fucks the robot. The news about like, oh, we talked to Vince Gilligan about a show, but like nothing happened. I was like, fuck. Imagine a Han Solo Vince Gilligan show. That actually
could have
just,
been cool.
I'd sacrifice
the entire galaxy becomes a hive mind, and Han is the only person left who isn't like.
It's like, what the fuck? Hey, what happened?
Imagine how good a Boba Fett show handled by Vince Gilligan would have been.
Oh my god. Even do the thing where, like, for whatever reason, he decides to become fucking Tony Soprano on Tatooine, but, like, you have Vince Gilligan writing that. Oh my god, I would fuck with that so hard.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, AIDS5678 for $5. Who do you think wins in a fist fight, Star Wars Theory or Den of Nerds? I'm gonna let C take that one. Never mind. Who do you guys think would win?
Hello. I think Star Wars Theory would win on the grounds of him being like a fucking. He works out a lot. He takes a lot of steroids, so I think he'd have like some advantage. But the reality is, I think either of them would hit the other person in the face and start crying because they're both pussies.
I was about to say, I think it's more like they're gonna have like a, one of those like massive like build-ups to a fight, and then they both just start slapping each other like 6-year-old girls.
This is the worst fight ever. Do something. For some kind of amount of money, I don't know. Opinion. Balazna Yeti. Okay, sure. I have dyslexia. Fucking deal with it. Opinion on the Don't Starve board game adaptation. This person asked me the same question on the stream I did the other day, the like casual stream I did. I don't know what that is. I'm like, stop giving me your money because I can't tell you what that is.
This is an incredible. This is so number one. There's a game called Don't Starve, but then to ask about the board game adaptation, that's That's like asking like so niche ball knowledge.
I don't know what that is.
I'm gonna say yes. It's good.
Sure. Yeah, it's great. It's a great game.
Fuck it, it's good.
Yeah.
Fuck it, it's good. It's
we go based on vibes.
We should play it on stream. The board game, not the actual video game.
Mousetrap on stream.
Yeah.
Dude, Mouse Quest?
Dude. Bro, you don't fuck with...
They don't fuck with clerks.
You don't...
Someone else, 5923 for $1.99. Have y'all seen A Night of the Seven Kingdoms? I have. I don't know if Jolly has yet.
No, I haven't.
I have not seen it.
I quite enjoyed episode 1. I had problems with the tone balancing in some areas, and I don't necessarily love the way in which they've chosen to do flashback pace. Words aren't coming. I think it's fine. I think it's good. I think it's decent so far, but I don't know if this is a hot take about like the books, which I have read. I have read all the books. But George has said that like it's his favorite thing he's ever written, or like one of his favorite things, and everyone that has read those books will say like, yeah, it's some of his best work. And I read them, and I don't know about that. Like, they're fine. And I think the show is fine in the same way that those books are fine. They're cute. They're wholesome. That's about all I can say for them. Nui V9M for $4.99. JJ Plagiarisms is still bitter about Andor to this day, and his fanboys still suck him off for that. Yeah, I haven't kept up with him in a couple months, but last I saw, he was still really fucking mad about that stream. Like, he was not happy.
He threatened to leave, and then he didn't leave, and then I don't know what's happening with that
guy. He's gone insane, and I'm here for it.
Yeah.
And then
Actually, that's why he wasn't insane before.
True.
More insane.
Kerm has given us a $1.99 super chat that simply says "War Star," which I think.
Yeah.
That's a good point.
Dude, yes.
Dude, fuck yes. God, you guys just keep sending these in, please. I'm trying to get back to the video. Hugs Mando.
Sending this grifter money.
Yeah, you're only enabling.
No, be quick.
Hugs Mando, 9999. What new shows have you seen this new year? I saw Blue Eye Samurai this month. It was okay. By the way, can we get a vid for the 20th anniversary of Dead Man's Chest? I'll let you take that first, C.
Maybe I'm really not trying to focus on YouTube this year. I got way too much stuff going on in my IRL sort of fucking filmy, cool, righty life. So I don't really. Yeah, maybe I'll do a 5-second video saying, "Oh yeah, I love this movie," and then leave it there. But I maybe I'll do a video, maybe I won't.
Maybe I'll do the video.
You can do the video. I don't give a shit. Maybe I'll pop in for a cameo.
I'll become the Pirates of the Caribbean YouTuber.
Don't feel free. For people who like my videos, don't expect me to upload anything anytime soon. And if I do upload, just be like, "Hey, that's kind of cool," because I'm kind of not really. I just don't care about YouTube anymore. Sorry, guys.
Just to answer the first question, also, I haven't really watched anything new this year. I've been too busy. I just haven't had time. I haven't even started season 2 of The Pit yet, which I know is gonna make Southpaw happy to hear. Yeah, just been too busy.
I watched Amazing Digital Circus.
Ooh,
it's good.
Jolly likes that.
That's right.
I haven't seen it. One from
I saw Edge Runners. That's what I watched.
Mate 56 for I don't know what HUF is as a currency, but I got 1,000 of that, so that's pretty cool. What do y'all think of the trailer for Mall Show, and do you think Tom Hiddleston would be a good cast for young Palp?
Holy fuck, that's a good idea.
I kind of like.
Wait,
Wait,
I heard.
I'll answer the second one first. I like Tom Hiddleston, and I think he would be great in a Palpatine-like role if they wanted to. But I don't know that I necessarily want him for young Palpatine specifically.
I don't think he fits young Palpatine at all.
I don't know why, but my brain heard Tom Holland, and I'm more on.
Yeah,
this might be too tall and might be too sort of built for Palpatine.
Also, just too authoritative. It's also just too authoritative. Palpatine is supposed to be someone who flew under the radar for 50 years.
Yeah.
Wait, Timothy Chalamet. Oh my god.
Oh my god,
boys, we got the casting. We're here.
Wrap
it up. We got it.
It's got to be Sydney Sweeney.
Obviously.
My fat tits for this.
As for the first question, I think the Mall trailer looks like slop.
Exactly.
It's gonna probably not be very good.
I really wish they'd find a different art style. Please.
They have
to use the same assets.
I actually have a lot of thoughts about not the show itself, because obviously it's not out, but the potential surrounding it and what it could be versus what it's going to be. But I'm not going to get into that here because I'm really trying to get through these super chats and get back to this fucking video. So I'm gonna
let's go.
Delete this one. I'm gonna read off these last two that I've gotten. If more come in before that, I'm saving those to the end. So fucking stop. Nathaniel Diaz for £5 said, kind of random, but do you think a Josh Safdie directed Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. movie with the same tone as The Winter Soldier would be a good idea?
No. Also, that's a euro symbol, not a pound symbol, but never mind.
Fuck you.
It's one of those fucking...
It's not a US dollar, so it's not real money.
Take your hat off, boy. That's a dollar bill.
I don't think I have enough of an opinion on Josh Safdie or Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. or The Winter Soldier, really, to answer that question.
I just want us to move away from the Marvel era. Can we please let that era of cinema die?
Let's go back to Cowboys.
I agree.
Amen. Yes. Cowboys.
All right, Cowboys. And the last
Cowboys
one
and Pirates.
from Niall
Looks like I was
McKenna
posted.
for €4. Have you
No,
watched the
that's a pound sign.
2013? Fuck you. They're the same fucking symbol.
No, they're not.
Oh my god. Anyway, have you watched the 2013 Hannibal show? Jolly has. He's gushed about it a lot.
Yeah. I like it a lot. It's got flaws. I'm not gonna sit here and pretend it's like a masterpiece or anything, but it's so fun and so well made in terms of like how it looks artistically, and the acting is so good that I kind of forgive it its flaws. It's just a lot of fun.
Jolly, I remember I told you months ago, hey, I started that Hannibal show that you keep talking about. I never watched past the first episode. I forgot.
Yeah, you're a bad friend.
Yeah. Fuck you. You still haven't watched Severance. I've been begging you to watch that for 2 years.
I've told you I am going to watch it, but I'm not going to tell you that I've watched it. I'm going to watch the whole thing, wait like a year, and then you'll bring it up, and I'll be like, oh yeah, I saw that a year ago.
I still remember when like this was several months ago at this point, but I still remember when Jolly was like, yeah, out of curiosity last night, I just rewatched the entire Cloak and Dagger show, just to see if it actually held up, and it was okay. And I was like, you what? you just on a whim just decided to watch Cloak and Dagger. When I've been, when you keep telling me you don't have time to watch the show that I've been begging you to watch for fucking 3 years. You're a character, Jolly. You're a guy. Whew.
I'm forcing you to watch Chibnall Who. That's how I show my love.
True.
That's great.
All right, now we're caught up on super chats. No more have come in yet. I'm going to refill my drink.
Coming in. Hold on. One more's coming in. It has 20 questions on it.
Ooh.
It's got a multiple.
I will take them one at a time.
I hope you study.
Madvocate has sent me $1,000. Okay. Oh, Madvocate! No, you can't send me that. Oh, why is it crooked?
An unfortunate skiing accident.
Oh.
Anyway, I'm gonna refill my drink, and then we will continue the video.
No, you can't refill your drink.
We're carrying on without you. Fuck it.
Fuck you.
I want this video over with. Fuck Josh.
Someone's gonna donate. It's inevitable.
Super chat.
We're just gonna get really aggressive too. Someone's gonna be like, "What's your thoughts on this little niche show?" We're gonna be like, "Fuck your show. It's gay and dumb."
Oh, Andrew, speaking of rage baiting Sheev about Severance, I keep on looking sideways at that Minecraft server you've made and be like, maybe I should revisit Minecraft. But I know that if I do,
man.
I won't get anything done for like a year.
What is it? It's the Simpsons meme where it's like looking at the pills. Just
like,
Minecraft.
I'll join and you'll like leave me to my own devices, like you'll all go to bed or something, and you'll come back like 12 hours later, and I will literally have just built the city of Minas Tirith.
Yeah, so I actually built Gorman
yes.
entirely.
I just built. Yeah, I built Gorman, and I'm leading it to the doors of your villagers' houses.
I have no time to play Minecraft, but when I do, I get way too engrossed in it, and then I end up thinking afterwards, "Fuck, this could have been spent doing anything else."
My diet,
Yesterday
Dr.
I
Kelp.
fished for 8 hours.
Like actual fishing? Or
I actually
like
rage baited Stir by doing that. No, it was in Minecraft. I like rage baited Stir because he was like, "I thought you were gonna go somewhere different, but no, we gotta fish again for 4 hours." I was like, "Yep." It was so funny.
Patience, my son. All right,
We must catch the big fish.
back to the video.
Yeah, let's go.
Andor, again, although a
This fucking
totally
chud.
competently cast, directed, shot, edited show, it doesn't follow the story grammar rules, the expectations for what I have with Star Wars. The dialogue of Andor.
Okay, yeah, it doesn't follow.
Star Wars.
It doesn't follow your expectations for the language of Star Wars, but that's not the same thing.
By science.
Well, you know, every scientific
It
like
turns
research
out,
paper.
that his middle name is science.
Oh.
This is actually how science works. You
This-
just go, yeah, I think in this way.
Well, the one thing I know about like scientific research papers is that like it's kind of just vibes based. You just go, this is how I feel about the data that I'm presenting to you, which is more important than what the data actually fucking says objectively.
I mean, to be fair, that's what Robert Kennedy thinks science is.
Well, and also that full necky bitch, the one who's gonna get a full necky if she doesn't shut the fuck up.
Don't even get me fucking started on that absolute embarrassment of a research paper.
You know,
Mhm.
Charlie
Oh,
Kirk
that's
is
fucking
full necky.
thing,
Actually, I think it's quite the opposite. I think it was rapidly leaking.
Star Wars is operatic, it's bombastic, it's basically over the top. I mean,
and is Andor not those things? Because
Well,
I would
think he
define
means,
it as both
operatic
of
in the kind
those.
sense of like overwrought.
What do you? Okay, but what do you mean by that? Elaborate.
Exaggerated beyond the bounds of realism.
Exaggerated swagger of a black teen.
Is Andor not that? I mean, I know it's a lot. I know it's more
I
grounded, but like, I think it is.
I'd call Andor epic.
The
I'd call Andor
Imperial
epic.
Beatles.
I wouldn't call it operatic. I think operatic implies a kind of sense of cartoonishness in the sense of being outsized from real life rather than like silly, but like a kind of cartoonishness that like Andor just lacks.
I kind of just don't agree that that's what even the original Star Wars movies are, though. Like, I know it is a space opera. Like, you know, George has said that many times. George Opera. He said that many times, but like, I don't know. Like, even at its most bombastic and you know, out there, the original trilogy was still really realistic. You know, within the confines of the mythology that it was set in. Obviously, things like the Force. You know, there was a supernatural element. But like within the confines of that, it had realism. It maintained a grounded level of like stakes, you know.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Somebody in the chat said that this guy gives "My wife has a boyfriend that takes us to Marvel movie" vibe.
Yo, that's a good comparison.
I wonder if his wife's boyfriend let him sit in his lap when they watched Thunderbolts.
Please, best movie of the year.
I want to bounce on your knee, Papa.
Please. Think of the most iconic lines in Star Wars. That's not true. That's impossible.
That's not. I think it's the line right before that is one of the more iconic lines. That's.
Yeah. I think did he miss?
I think you forgot which one. Did you just like on a slider go like take me to the most iconic line, and then it took you to that, and then you misinterpreted which part of the page it was actually pointing you to?
Did he just say that isn't true?
No, I think he said that's not true. We can go back.
Okay, I was going to say like if he misquoted
Luke
the line,
said that's not true.
That'd be really funny if he misquoted it.
No.
Let's listen.
Basically over the top. I mean, think of the most iconic lines in Star Wars. That's not true.
Okay, yeah.
That's impossible. Mando. Dark side.
Okay, but that's okay. That's not fair. You took a random clip of Grief Karga saying the main character's name and greeting, and put that up against Luke finding out that Vader was his father. Like, obviously, those aren't going to be the same level of iconography.
I also just want to smash this down for a different level, right? Because he's like, oh yeah, these sentences, like, oh, they're dramatic, they're out there. Like, I'm sorry, the dark side of the Force is a pathway to many abilities. It's not nearly as dramatic and over the top as I burned my life to build the sunrise I know I'll never see.
Absolutely.
Like,
No, yeah.
The Force is a pathway to many abilities. Some consider.
You know, you don't have to like quote these directly. You could just play the clips. Because this is a little crazy.
He's got a LARP for a couple minutes.
And it'll be at 240p.
He's got to pay for his rent.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. To be fair, Madvika just referenced that clip he played earlier, and that's a pretty operatic line. Vader yelling no at the top of his lungs after finding out his wife of 3 years was dead. That's that was pretty operatic.
Yeah. I love that operatic scene in The Phantom Menace when they were talking about how they were the very model of a modern Major General. That was my favorite bit.
I like that really operatic moment when the camel farted on Jar Jar and he went, "Pee, Yusa."
Yusa. I like the
yeah, if you don't know, they directly took that from La Boheme.
I like the really operatic moment when Ki-Adi-Mundi asked about the droid attack on the Wookiees.
Yeah,
true.
Hey, show some fucking respect.
Fair, at least in the scene he's currently referencing, they are at an opera. So at least it's got that going for them.
Scruffy looking nerf herder, that one, that's good.
Scruffy looking nerf herder. I mean, yeah, don't forget all the times Chewie growls. Everything he's saying is actually just straight out of Shakespeare. You just don't know that because he's speaking alien language.
What he says.
It's like that in the holiday special too.
I just said, "What?
What?" Obviously, the most operatic line: "Many Boffins died to bring us this information."
No,
Remember when Mon Mothma was the character?
I thought that you were gonna say the most operatic line was "I don't like sand." It's
Oh.
rough, coarse, irritating, and it gets everywhere.
That's a good one.
The most operatic line is when that pod racer was about to die and he went "Rawr!"
That's a good one. That's the most tragic moment. Mormon massacre, bro. That shit, that's real.
Yeah.
To be unnatural. Never tell me the odds.
How is Never Tell Me the Odds operatic?
Never tell. Number one, he did Chewie. Number two, never tell me the odds. People just say that.
Oh my god. Hugs Mando, I think, asked earlier if the reason he said that Andor isn't Star Wars is because it doesn't have meme lines. But apparently that's actually a thing he's saying right now. Because hello there is not like a fucking serious line. That's a joke. It's a meme line.
Was but the learner, but now I am the master. You must do what you.
I would again also be like, I don't know where you're going with this in terms of like you're pointing out that Star Wars has iconic lines. Some of these I don't really think I'd argue are iconic. I don't like this one right here that I don't know why he's saying that. I don't think that's one that many people just quote offhand in the general public. But like Andor has iconic lines. I mean, Jolly mentioned one earlier that's really good, but it's got plenty of other ones. You know, I'd rather die fighting than, you know, I'd rather die trying to take them down than giving them what they want, or oh god, there's other ones too, but now my brain.
Marva's whole speech.
Marva's whole speech. Mothma's whole speech.
The one at the end, but also the one at the beginning when she's talking to the security guy in her house.
Nemec's manifesto.
You have to worry when they stop. Yeah, manifestos.
The manifesto, which I can quote verbatim. I have friends dude. Everyone says I have friends everywhere. That's like about as popular as "This Is the Way" was back when The Mandalorian came out.
Oh, nobody's listening. Mewin motif.
Mm-hmm. Rebellions are built on hope. I know that's Rogue One, but Andor incorporates that into yeah.
I need Tony Gilroy's like writing motif to
Mother,
fuck me in the ass.
Mother,
that's a good one.
Mother. Excuse me. One that I personally love quoting all the time is when he leans into the brothel manager and says, "I don't have a girlfriend."
That's W. Riz.
Yeah.
It's kind of weird how you'll do that to your actual girlfriend. Just lean in and be like, "I don't have a girlfriend."
She'll be like, "Oh, okay."
She's like, "I see how it is."
Of course, the ability to speak does not make you intelligent.
You know, Josh, there's at least one person I can think of that I'd like to say those exact words to.
I mean, he's talking about like what Andor not having iconic dialogue, but like I don't know, man. Have you listened to any of Luthen's monologues in the show?
Or yeah, literally anything Luthen says, like the everything. Yeah, that one's good. But the anything, like his
How
talk
nice
about
for you.
Gorman, and he's like, "It will burn very brightly."
I mean, I could write an entire essay just on how nice for you.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, how nice she's excellent. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
There's so many iconic lines. Spider!
Hellkite! Gorman.
Yeah, okay. Andor's got meme lines too, so it's covering all the Star Wars bases here. I don't know what you want.
How about Krennic putting his finger on Detra's head?
Supervisor Young spent 3 hours last night logged into your account.
It's funny that he spent ages quoting grammar and the rules of grammar, but doesn't like Andor, because there's actually a character in Andor who's very keen on words still having meanings. So I feel like he liked the show.
Have meaning.
Do not read this out loud, but look at the picture I just sent to the chat.
That's great. I would say it out loud, but I think I'd be in a lot of trouble.
I would kill you personally.
I'm not going to read that out loud. I will, however, say that the typo of "don't" to "font" makes that far funnier.
Anyway,
I mean, look, I could go on, and I think it's fun, and they're very memeable. Like, the lines are memeable, but there's something to that. What's the best lines of dialogue from Andor? I bet it's some impassioned speech, or maybe some powerful character realization type moment thing. But you know what I'm getting at? The vest.
Well, but that's what the first one you cited is, right? The Luke finding out his Vader is his father?
Also, he didn't even finish the show, so what is he talking about?
Yeah. You know what, Josh? I'm gonna need your thesis, please.
Thesis, please. I don't know what point he's even making with all these citations.
I don't think he knows what point he's making, which is infinitely sadder to me.
The majority of the dialogue in Andor is delivered naturally. It's just sort of slow burn.
That's
and
true
it's
for
meant
all
to
of Star Wars.
take you through a realistic, dramatic story. It's not bombastic. It's not operatic. It's not any of the things that I read.
Okay, well, hang on, because like that's not true of normal Star Wars either. It's not like they're all there speaking in Shakespearean iambic pentameter. Most of the dialogue in Star Wars is just people talking normally. The only times it ever sounds unnatural or abnormal is when it's being deliberately written for like a particular bombastic line, because they've set it up to hinge a scene on it, like "I am your father," or because Lucas was so bad at writing dialogue that they're having to the actors having to force it out through gritted teeth, like Toshi Station and Power.
Yeah,
I mean, by and large, it's just normal dialogue.
I think it's safe enough to say that at least 85% of the dialogue in Andor is just people casually talking to each other, because that's how you facilitate these big, epic, iconic lines, in the same way that it was for the original Star Wars. They're the same thing. They're cut from the same cloth, because that's how storytelling works. That's how writing dialogue works.
I don't want to hammer down too hard on the he is a child thing, but there is actually a movie out there and a movie maker out there who you will really like if all you want is hype moments or overall cinematography and meme lines for the entirety of the dialogue. It's called 300. The guy's called Zack Snyder. You're gonna really love it, man. You'll particularly love it because there's a bunch of dudes with not much on. I'm sure it'll be.
I am
great.
furiously gay. I hate when women are
I'm so. I don't know. It just pisses
I'm
me off.
sorry. I just said I like sweaty men. I said I like sweaty men, and my dog looked at me like she had some kind of issue with that. And I'm just like,
your dog is homophobic.
Your dog's a homophobe.
Yeah.
Hey, dog. Fuck you.
It just comes up to you while you're trying to sleep, and it goes, "I know what you are."
She's walking away now. She's just walking away. The fucking asshole.
She's going over to your phone to delete Grindr.
She's like, "No, not in this house of God will you sin."
She's so funny. I love her.
Grammar of Star Wars. I honestly view Andor as a victim of modernity. Like, I think that George had this mythic fairy tale.
No, he's doing that thing now where he's trying to say Star Wars is timeless, as if the original movies weren't also baked in its own culture, or contemporarily. Like, it exists in the form that it does because it came out in the time that it did. It's just how it is.
It's remember when George Lucas said that the Emperor's identity was Nixon?
It's actually kind of funnier than that. It's about to be. So Andrew, this is the whimsy argument.
No,
he's about to try and claim that Lucas intended it to be fairy tale-esque, and therefore if it's not fairy tale-esque, it's not real Star Wars. Which basically just translates to where is my whimsy?
My whimsy. Because everything needs to adhere to this very specific structure and style. Otherwise, it can't possibly, because Star Wars isn't ever allowed to grow. Never allowed to be anything other than what it was 50 fucking years ago.
It's not even being what it was 50. This is the other thing that annoys me. They're like, oh, it can't, because we're right to point out these people fundamentally haven't grown up. But what annoys me is that it's not even that. They want to go back to a kind of Star Wars that didn't ever exist. Like, Star Wars was never just a fairy tale full of meme slop and big ass moments and turn off your brains and whizzing noises and lightsabers. That's never what it was. That's just their very shallow understanding of what the original movies were, because they were 4 years old when they watched them and never developed.
I'm gonna give it a little pushback. So you're saying that never existed. It actually does exist now because the brand has been so thoroughly diluted. In the past, however many years since Dave Filoni's gotten involved, I'd say that is what they're trying to go back to, which is the stuff that reminds them of the iconography of Star Wars, but does not have anything that actually makes Star Wars in it.
Well,
it kind of reminds me, not to bring in politics, but it kind of reminds me when people, get the whole "Make America Great Again." And I was like, when exactly was that? What time period are you talking about? Explain to me why that was great, because I think you'll find, if you're looking back, it wasn't great for a lot of people.
We were. So by the way,
shit.
The thing about
I saw somebody in the chat way earlier saying if we're political enough to bring up what's going on in Minnesota, fuck guys.
Fuck guys. Anyway, though, to keep on track here. the whole like, you know, oh, Star Wars used to be whimsical and fairy tale like. The thing is, like, when I think of the original trilogy, one of the first scenes that comes to my mind, because it's one of the first Star Wars scenes I ever watched, and it's one of the things that did grip me and never let me go. It's like one of the main reasons why I'm a fan to this day, is the scene where Yoda lifts the X-wing. The music in that scene, the you know, the just the vibe of it, the aesthetics, the set building, cinematography, the directing, the atmosphere, you know, the color grading, all of that really did encapsulate a whimsical fairy tale like feeling. But that didn't exist in a vacuum. It existed around parts of the films that weren't that, because the point was supposed to be that this is almost like we're entering into a fairy tale when we previously weren't. Luke wasn't a part of one. So in the same sense that, like, yeah, you can point to a scene in Andor and be like, that's not fairy tale like, and I'm like, yeah, that's the point. It's showing the part of the world that wasn't fairy tale like, and that, like, that's almost something that Luke is trying to bring back by restoring the light, by restoring the Jedi, by bringing down the Sith, by bringing down the oppression of the Empire. Because there's nothing in the original trilogy that paints, you know, the Empire or life under the Empire as whimsical or fairy tale like, because that would be antithetical to its themes.
Mm-hmm.
Andor is just.
I mean, want to just to add on to what you're saying as well, which, like, that scene is fairy tale-esque, but, like, it's fairy tale-esque in, like, the true sense of the word, of, like, you know, because real fairy tales, like, you know, Grimm's fairy tales and all the kind of traditional folklore stuff like that, these are not like silly little children's stories that have no depth to them. Like, they are very dark in places. They have, you know, they're meant to teach you things. They're meant to be like almost morality fables a lot of the time. The Yoda scene is beautiful. It is gorgeous. It is evoking that kind of like surreal feeling of like we're stepping into a magic place now. But it's doing that deliberately, and it's doing that for a purpose beyond just being like, isn't that nice? It's doing that because Yoda's teaching a philosophical lesson to Luke about the nature of reality. Like, you know, Yoda is espousing Zen Buddhist and Taoist philosophy in that scene to a man who's grown up in what is effectively a Western materialist culture. And that's supposed to be the point. Like, Luke's reality is breaking away from the quote-unquote realism he thinks is the only thing that exists, and exposing him to this alien sense of wonder. But it's in service of a greater thematic point. It's not just, isn't this neat?
Well, yeah. But that's what I'm saying, is like that scene and everything to do with Luke's journey in becoming a Jedi and bringing the Jedi back into the fold, and everything the Jedi represented and everything that the light represented that they're trying to restore. The whole point is that that's gone, or at least it's basically gone, and like there are only a few embers left really to try to spark that back into a fire. It's not around anymore because the Empire has done such a thorough and complete job snuffing it out. So if you're going to tell a story that, you know, takes place between when it existed and when it was brought back, you can't just have it be there in, you know, aplenty and like bountifully. That would defeat the point of what Luke represented by restoring order, by bringing down the Empire, by bringing back the Jedi, by bringing back the good.
Yeah, I mean, there's a, like, when I was first watching the Gorman Massacre, like, I was just like, fuck, I wish Luke was here to just fix everything.
Right,
like,
exactly. And that's
what it wants.
That's what you're supposed to be feeling. Yeah, it's like, man, if there were Jedi here, maybe this would go differently. Or at the very least, fewer people would die. It would be less harrowing.
Yeah. This is the world without that, like,
we had this
actual peacekeeper.
We had this safety net. We had this comfortable blanket that kept us, you know, kept the darkness at bay for 25,000 years, and now they're gone. The darkness won. Yeah. We're fucked. And it's just showing that, you know, coming to fruition. That's the fucking point.
And on this whimsy point, like, I think I'd actually say that this like Andor does have whimsy in the sense of, like, you know, we see, like, it has, like, Bix and Andor, and they go to the store, and, like, Andor doesn't want to, like, talk to the guy, and he, like, picks up gum. Like, there's like the way the show portrays, like, specifically romance is, like, so nuanced and mature, and it doesn't feel like, you know, like it doesn't feel like a traditional romance plot, because it can't be. Because they're like, it's just like, you know, Revolutionary War, and how, like, it also parallels that to Dedra and Serral, because, you know, when Dedra and Serral are, you know, in Coruscant, the heart of the Empire, they can't even express their love for each other openly. They have to, like, she literally says, you turn off the lights. Like, they can't do this in
Well,
front of people.
Also, her
And you
fucking
have-
apartment is as white and sterile and plain looking as like the Kaminoan cloning facilities, and that's also
Yeah.
part of it, right? There is
Yeah,
no
and-
whimsy to be found here because it's been stripped away methodically.
Yeah, and you
Well,
go
also, like
to
a central point behind Cassian's journey in particular is like, you know, the fairy tale element, that core of something deeper is ultimately what drives his motives to fight for the rebellion. But even he doesn't necessarily recognize that to begin with, right? Like he thinks it's out of brute survivalism, and then as it goes on, he realizes there's like more of a core to it, like through Bix, through the Force healer, through these little moments he has on, like, you know, on Ferrix and on not Nucky, you know, what the hell am I talking about? The Gorman on Gorman.
Yeah.
And that obviously culminates in Rogue One with him accepting a kind of spirituality that has been present throughout his life, but which he's never fully recognized, and being at peace for the first time.
Yeah, and like with, you know, Serral and Dedra, then you have Bix and Andor who are on Yavin, the heart of the rebellion, and they're able their house is open. It has no doors. They can express their love on their front porch, and no one was going to be like, "You gross." Like they can do that, and even when Bix and Andor are in the heart of the Empire, when they're on Coruscant in that shitty apartment, that place has more love and like cozy
Warmth,
nature
yeah.
to it than Dedra's apartment. Like they're able to do this like cool hand dance that I don't know what that means, but it's like it's cool, and like I don't know, man. Whimsy's there, but you didn't fucking watch the show.
When you say that no one was like calling them out if they'd had like sex on their front porch, you don't know that. Like maybe Wedge was there in the tree line, being like, "Get a room."
Yeah, Wedge would actually be like, "That's fucking."
He was just calling Porkins a fat ass, and then he saw them fucking on the
like
Fuck
Wedge is a
Porkins. I don't
secret
like that
sideline as
people.
being the most racist, most bigoted member of the rebellion, but no one's allowed to call him out because he's also like one of the best pilots.
They're like,
Yeah, like
we need him. You just have to put up with him.
Base, and he just gives them this look, and he's just like, I'm not fucking deal with these guys. And they didn't do anything. Like, this is really nice alien. His name is Daryl. He's just there, and then Wedge just doesn't even look at him.
Well, there's even this moment in I forgot when it was, but the Force healer, like Andor has his own like Luke with Yoda moment, not as like bizarre, right? But like he has that moment with her, and then like she's like seeing into him, and he's seeing this like other wider world of the Force, and it like scares him. And you know, that plays into the theme of him like denying his destiny and stuff. But like that character's there, and like she talks about how, you know, he's picking up as he goes, he's a messenger. Like that is whimsical. Fuck off.
Yeah.
An IP or a franchise, and the stories within that really were for young people, and they really were meant to be mythic. Here's just a few quotes that George has
Cinema.
given us over
Absolute
the years.
cinema.
I wanted to do a modern fairy tale, a myth. A whole generation was growing up without fairy tales, adventures in far off.
I wonder if he would like watch the scene where Anakin is massacring the Tusken Raiders and go, "This is fairy tale like."
This is for kids. Stir brought up a point where it says the hand dance makes the rebellion symbol even more, even in their culture with visual motifs. Yeah, like that hand dance. It's like, what does that come from for these two? Because they knew. Bix says like she's never known a time without him. So like, did they just like, was this hand dance like a thing that they did on Ferrix as like?
I mean,
just
they
a
did.
Fun thing.
They did used to be
like
together.
patty
Like
cake,
before
patty
the
cake?
show started, they were a flame.
Oh yeah.
So
maybe. Yeah, and it's just
there's a kind of general vibe that's going on here, which I find very distasteful. Which is, he's just basically like he's drawing a false equivalence between fairy tale and child media, like for children, nothing depth, in the kind of pejorative sense of having no depth, right? Like, oh, it's like sugar, it's like fluff, it's like candy. It was meant to be that for the children. It's like that's not what myth is. That's not what
fairy tales are.
I'm no anthropologist. Yeah, but it's not what fairy tales are or legends are. Like obviously, like, Sheev and I, we've just rewatched Troy, which is obviously based on one of the oldest pieces of mythos in the Western canon, the Iliad.
I love that movie.
For anyone, yeah, it's a good movie. But for anyone who's ever seen the movie, or you know, if you've read the Iliad or any kind of translation of it, that is not like chill and sweet and whimsical in the kind of like candy floss way. That is brutal and violent. Terrible shit happens all the time. It's making deep, resonant points. That's a myth. That's part of what being a myth is like having that depth.
Even modern myth, like Lord of the Rings, like that's like that was him making a story for adults that wasn't The Hobbit.
I was just about to reference Lord of the Rings, and specifically like, Sam's whole speech to Frodo about the great stories and talking about how like it was, they were so full of darkness, and sometimes it got so bad that you didn't know how it could possibly go back to being good. But like ultimately the good shines through, the darkness does pass. And that's what made them great, even if you were too young to understand why. And it's like, yeah, this is what fairy tales are, and this is how even like the hobbits in Lord of the Rings are understand the stories that they grew up loving in the same way that we do, which is like, yeah, they were full of darkness, they're full of pain, and that's like what makes it meaningful when things like whimsy return, right?
Yeah, I mean, watching Andor and then watching Rogue One in the original trilogy in chronological order, it actually really does kind of work as a semi-cohesive continuity there. And then when, Luke Skywalker blows up the Death Star after having an entire show building up just how horrifying the thing is, it is actually very satisfying.
Yeah, you go from season 1, episode 1 of Andor to the finale of Return of the Jedi, and it's like it gets progressively more fairy tale like as it goes on in a kind of linear fashion, which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
Oh well.
Land. It's fun. I consciously set about to recreate myths, the classic mythological motifs. And when it comes to the maturity or the content of the dark elements of Star Wars, George was also explicit on how he viewed this. In the famous Bill Moyers interview, when asked about what kind of darkness he didn't want in Star Wars, George said, "I didn't want to create some ugly thing you can't watch." He contrasts that with a much cleaner version of a fear.
Thanks for showing the matte painting, bro.
It's just the quote. So I wanted to make something that isn't gross. It's like, yeah. What do you mean?
Is he about to bring up
George Lucas didn't understand fairy tales? I just want to put this out. We've all heard like the story of Cinderella, right? Like everyone knows roughly the story of Cinderella.
Yeah.
Do you know? So obviously, like the glass slipper, and it fits her foot, and she gets to marry the prince. Do you know the actual like one of the things that happened in the original story, which is that one of the ugly stepsisters, to get her foot in the shoe, cuts off her toes, and like it's discovered because like obviously she's like bleeding profusely all over the slippers and out the sides, and there's like pus and shit. Like it's grim on purpose.
Grim. He said it. He said the thing. No, like, yeah, you can quote George Lucas all you want, but like at the end of the day, like when George talks about making his stories fairy tale like, he most likely is referring to like the ones he grew up with from Disney, from the 30s and 40s. Those kinds of fairy tales that were Disney-fied and are a lot more outwardly whimsical and fun. But even then,
hello, Myra.
But even then, like I don't know. Like when I'm watching this grotesque monster that is Palpatine torture Luke with the intent of fucking murdering him, that seems like an ugly thing. That like I'm watching, but I don't necessarily want to be seeing that. But it's part of the story, and it's that it's disgusting and that I don't like it is like part of it. That's the point.
Well, which is also funny too, because if we go back to sort of the Disney-fied fairy tales and stuff, even in them they had some sort of grim, creepy imagery, like with the evil queen when she turns into the old hag and stuff. Like you kind of have to have some level of darkness for light to be further emphasized.
Well, I guess someone in the comment sections basically said like, well, what they obviously meant was that what Lucas obviously meant was that it shouldn't be like grim dark. And I hate to be the bearer of bad news here, but like fantasies that are not grim dark is a very recent and very modern phenomenon. Go back to like prior to like 1900, and every single fairy tale was some flavor of grim dark, at least by modern understandings of the word of grim dark, in terms of having more adult themes or more violent tones and more horrific things depicted in them.
Read the original Wizard of Oz book.
Oh yeah. for a
So
post 1900 example of this. But like again, that's not to say, by the way, that if you're going to do a fairy tale, it has to be like a pre 1900 style old original true to form fairy tale. You can have just silly things. That's perfectly fine. But even if that was what Lucas wanted, and even if that was definitively what he thought all of Star Wars should be, he doesn't actually get to make that call just because he was the one who had the original conception of the story. He doesn't get to set a quote unquote objective language of Star Wars that deviating from means it's not Star Wars. That's just not how that works.
Well, I mean, I'll step up to bat for George Lucas a little bit. He's always been lenient to an extent in terms of like, this is my Star Wars, but there are other people with different interpretations of what Star Wars is. And, sometimes I give them the keys to the car. Sometimes I let them play around in the sandbox. And that's why we have things like the EU. And that's also why we have things like Dave Filoni. But like, it's, as a philosophy, that's not a bad thing. Like, intrinsically. George is very, like, George has always been very well aware of the fact that, like, yeah, he has his own views of what Star Wars is, but that's not the end-all be-all of what Star Wars is or can be or should be. And even if he did, I don't really care. Andor's great.
Wasn't Lucas planning that, like, Underworld show as well before he sold it to Disney?
Yeah, and that's kind of the like smoking gun that like you kind of just, if you want to bring that up, like automatically it kind of destroys this entire narrative of like Andor is not Star Wars, or it's not what George would have envisioned, because from everything I understand about what Underworld was going to be, Andor is very, very similar to it in terms of tone and aesthetic and atmosphere and like adultness, maturity, that sort of thing. You can't really make the argument that this isn't what Lucas would have envisioned for Star Wars when it's quite literally like what he was basically making before he sold it.
You especially can't make that claim when you look into like the cinematic inspirations for Star Wars, and like things that he in some cases just stole scenes from whole cloth with a different texture, like Dam Busters, like war movies, like World War II movies and things like that, which are very obviously not meant to be fun and whimsical. They are serious films about a very serious topic that at the time was in very recent memory. May that never happen again, although Trump seems to be gunning for it. But the point I'm simply making there is like the idea that Lucas always intended this to be some like morally puritanical, pure, aerial, ethereal thing that must not be touched by dirty hands of like reality is completely insane and bears no relation to what was actually the case at all.
Yes.
Based realization. He said it's not repulsive, it's something you should be afraid of. He's drawing a line between mythic fear that comes from fairy tales and grim.
I'm just gonna say, I think you're also misinterpreting what George is even saying, because I don't think George like would look at some of the things he depicted on screen and go like, that's not supposed to disgust you. What about Jabba? He's literally designed to be fucking gross. That's the whole point.
Yeah, what about
Jabba, Palpatine, Anakin's body catching on fire.
Jabba licking Leia, like that's not supposed to be disgusting.
Porkins,
so that's like, actually sexual.
Wait, hang on.
The central focus of the original of the prequel trilogy, the main character. I mean, I guess we could also call Obi-Wan the main character, but Anakin, his body catches fire and has his skin melting away in Revenge of the Sith. Like, that's not supposed to be gross and scary?
It's very whimsical, though, when that happens.
Yeah, super whimsical.
I saw that, and I was like, man, that's so cool. I can't wait to show this to a 4-year-old.
This is just like when Yoda lifted the X-Wing.
Yeah.
So beautiful.
Nihilistic or body realistic types of evil, because yes, George continues to say that Star Wars is for kids. He said in the past it was supposed to be a kids movie for 12-year-olds. He said,
and that's great, and he's allowed to have that, and that's what the original Star Wars movies were, and Andor isn't that. Advocate, I hate to break it to you, but we already did the science part. The science part's over. I'm so sorry.
Where's the lab coat?
This is also the kind of thing that I find fucking annoying, right? It's like the again the false equivocating of child with apparently subtextually moron. Because yeah, a movie can be for 12-year-olds and still be deep and have dark themes that they will pick up on later when they rewatch it as an adult. Like that's supposed to be
kind of like the original Star Wars movies.
Yeah, this annoying pseudo cultural meme that to be a children's movie means to be essentially the most brain dead, vacuous, thematically empty piece of cotton fluff that ever walked the earth is so fucking infuriating, and I really wish they would stop.
Nah.
It is a kids movie. It's always been.
I'm starting to think the
a
lab
kids
coat wasn't even
movie.
real.
When Ron Howard took over the Han Solo movie, he reached out to George Lucas for advice, and Ron Howard is on record saying that George told him, just don't forget it's for 12-year-old boys. George valued the fairy tale formula, clear emotion, adventure, and accessibility. I often hear people that enjoy Andor hold
Disney has made what fucking 24 shows and films and what, you know, like if you were to stack up all the projects they've made, we're talking at least 25 easily, right? One of those happens to not be accessible to all audiences, therefore that's a bad thing.
Yes.
There's also the slightly funny thing here of like all the things he's painted as being like representative of true Star Wars, like meme lines and overwroughtness and like operaticness and brain deadness for children. I'm like, you know what has all of those things in abundance? Kenobi. It was bad. Even you have admitted it was bad. So what the fuck are you talking about?
Okay, so
Can we just stop as a society sucking George's dick?
His position is that it has to be that, but also good. So you have Kenobi, that's all the things that
good is.
No, but no. So you have Kenobi, which has all the things that Star Wars is as like a language and storytelling, and it's bad. And then you have Andor, which is good, but doesn't have all those things that are apparently necessary for it to have the language of Star Wars.
This is that person who, when they were a child, really enjoyed like the occasional ice cream that their parents bought them, and then they got to like early adulthood, and they realized they could just they could buy whatever they wanted with the money. So they just spent a week eating nothing but solid ice cream for like every meal, and like by the end of the week their stomach's hurting, and they're like, oh, why am I not enjoying this ice cream anymore? It must be because the ice cream isn't like when I was a child.
Mm-hmm.
Real. They changed it. They put gay frogs in it or something.
That lovely
yummy gay frog ice cream.
Mm-hmm.
So good.
My favorite kind.
Get that gay froggy.
it up as
I'm actually going to allow that.
Radicals and being clear emotion, adventure, and accessibility. I often hear people that enjoy Andor hold it up as being able to create true radicals and being a piece of art that speaks to the complicated state of the world that we are living right now and authoritarian forces all over. And I'm not.
Before I even see what he has to say about that, I'm just going to say, yeah, it is. I know a lot of people who unironically were like politically radicalized, or at least started down their path of political radicalization because of Andor. Like unironically.
You're not gonna believe what my Andor video is named.
I know.
When he said like, oh, there's people who became radicals, my eyes did just drift across to my second Andrew's PFP.
Look at my comments.
And dude, Andrew became dark woke in 2023. I
think. It was awesome.
This is true.
Ladies and gentlemen, we got him.
Saying the world doesn't need content like that. I'm not saying that you can't make stories about that are incredible and that are satisfying. What I'm saying is that when you're making a Star Wars story, I think you have to leave some of that stuff at the door.
And I think you're fucking wrong. And I think that's actually a dangerous like sentiment to have when talking about Star Wars or any art really, where it's like this thing isn't supposed to make you reflect on what's actually going on in your own reality that surrounds you. It's not supposed to make you take a more critical look at the political infrastructure in place and the people in power that have been elected and what they're doing and how they're, how they're hurting people. You're not supposed to look at Star Wars and connect that to what's going on in the real world and go, hey, wait a minute, things maybe aren't supposed to be as bad as they are. I think that's really fucking cowardly.
I also really get annoyed when people try to say, like what he said of like, when you make art, you should leave that stuff at the door. It's like, why should you? Why?
And what's the point of making art?
It's not only that, but like it's Tony Gilroy specifically wanted to make this show about this thing that he feels very strongly about, and it really clearly resonated with a lot of people.
And it connects with Star Wars intrinsically because of what Star Wars is.
This man seems to think that like there's a delineation between like, or at least that there should be a delineation between like entertainment and art, and it seems he puts Star Wars in the category of just entertainment. I can't begin to describe how one wrong that is, but two how profoundly insulting to George Lucas that is, and indeed anyone who worked on the original movies. Because say what you want about George, he did not intend it to be vacuous and empty and purely for entertainment.
Well, yeah, I'm imagining George Lucas when he was making the Ewoks versus Stormtrooper conflict a very explicit allegory to the Vietnam War, and was doing just very obvious commentary on the state of imperialism and America sticking their nose where it doesn't belong, and people, good American citizens dying as a result of that. Like, he was doing all of that because he wanted you to watch that movie and go, hang on, that's that's happening in the real world.
Wait a minute.
I'm imagining George watching this video and being like, oh, well, this fucking guy has no idea what I even intended for my art.
Sucks.
Like, fuck, man.
The very least have to deliver what you're trying to deliver within the grammar or the story grammar that Star Wars had. This is restricting. It is confining. It's going to make certain things off limits. Certain things are outside of the boundaries of what Star Wars is. And I don't think Tony Gilroy would have signed up to do what he did with Andor if he had those constraints on him. And I know that's like, maybe for some people they're like,
this is just a more roundabout and quote-unquote objective way of basically making the same argument that every Andor detractor has already made, which is that it doesn't feel like Star Wars to me personally. Therefore, like, as good as the show may or may not be, it needs to follow these very specific guidelines or it doesn't count. And I'm not going to let it count. And it's like, that's extremely arbitrary. And last I checked, you weren't the arbiter of what is Star Wars. So that doesn't help me. I don't have a more objective understanding. I don't have a more scientific understanding of why this show isn't Star Wars.
Like, who cares? Like, I want talented people. I want Star Wars to do this thing, and that's fine. You can have that opinion, but I don't share that opinion. My opinion is that Star Wars itself is so specific and so valuable as it once was that it should not expand itself to the point of brand dilution and to the point of forgetting what its creator wanted it to be. We live in a world where a lot of people attack the moves that corporations make as being
just pause it real quick.
Yeah.
He thinks that brand dilution is actually tying back to the themes and concepts that George Lucas really wanted to push with Star Wars, and not shit like everything Dave Filoni does, as if that's not brand dilution.
Yeah, do you think Mando or Boba Fett isn't brand dilution?
Yeah, you're making it vacuous. I called it brand dilution back in 2020, 2021, and 2022 when I was figuring out my Dave Filoni video. Like, what are we doing here?
This is another thing about the irony of him lecturing people on language when he doesn't understand what basic words mean. So, like, dilution, friend, means to thin something out, to add more water to it until there is less of it in the total mixture, to make it, like, more hollow and vacuous, as C just said, in the context of art, which is exactly what things like the Book of Boba Fett or Mando slop or any of that crap does, or Kenobi did, because there is no theme to it. There's nothing it's trying to say. It's just key jangling and do you remember this? You didn't used to like this? Buy this, please. And that is dilution. But Andor having things to say that materially resonate with lots of people is definitely not dilution. You can argue it's conversion of one brand to another if you really want to push that, although I disagree. But it's definitely not dilution.
Yeah, there's no meaningful way you can make an argument this is dilution in any form. It's ridiculous. I'm sorry, I heard that and it kind of just set me off a little bit because I was like, excuse me? You praise Dave Filoni and you're going to criticize dilution? Star Wars of delusion after fucking praising Filoni? Suck my dick, Josh.
Answer me this. How many wolves were there in Star Wars before Dave Filoni?
That's true.
Fuck this guy.
Yeah. Oh, but that's okay. All right then, because this guy invented wolves.
God, I hate this son of a bitch.
Being products of modernity or being the outset or the downstream effects of weird thinking that's elitist and out of touch. And I find it so curious that we don't attribute some of that stuff to what's going on with Andor. At the end of the day, what Lucasfilm did was a poor mimicking of what George did. And just because they failed at that doesn't mean that doing what George did or trying to do what George did is no longer the answer. I think Star Wars got to a point that its own.
So I don't know. I don't think he wants to hear this, but I'm going to say it anyway, Josh. Gilroy did do what Lucas did. I mean, he did it better, but he still did what Lucas was trying to do in the 70s and 80s. Andor is very complimentary.
Josh knows what George Lucas was trying to do anyway.
Well, no, we've already established that he definitely fucking didn't. But, like, even if... Andor is extremely complimentary to the themes and just actual overall aesthetic and vibe and atmosphere of the original trilogy. You can't... No. That's kind of why this falls apart, because, like, you can't appeal to, authority about, like, oh, this isn't like what George Lucas wanted it to be. Because, like, no, this is exactly what George Lucas... This is, like, what George Lucas was trying to say if he was just, 40% more competent about saying it,
This video is so bad it might actually make me come out of YouTube retirement and make my own dedicated response video. That's like, holy fuck. I'm actually sitting here thinking, I want to hop on a Discord call with this guy and just tell him how fucking stupid he is.
So you're gay. You're gay now.
I want to hop on a call with him and just ask him questions, like really basic questions about like what he thinks Star Wars is, what he thinks George Lucas wanted out of it, the history of Star Wars and its creation as a brand. Like I'm so fascinated to see if there's any kind of like layers to his thoughts.
You should ask him questions about grammar. I'm pretty sure he's actually really knowledgeable about that.
True.
Pain.
Let's eat grammar.
Fans began to roll their eyes at the slop of things like Kenobi, but I think far too many of those fans began to associate what Kenobi was trying to be with the wrong decision for Star Wars overall. I think Kenobi fails because other things were getting in the way, and it had a very big lack of resources, and it just wasn't considered to be as important as something like Andor.
I'm imagining because fuck you. I'm just gonna say that right now. I don't believe anyone in the higher ups of Lucasfilm looked at Andor and then Obi-Wan and sat them next to each other and was like, okay, obviously Andor is the more important thing, right? Like obviously, and Andor ended up being way more important to Star Wars and just overall like storytelling and culture and everything like that. But like on a pure just like brand level, if I'm the president of Lucasfilm and you take these two shows and you're like, one of these needs to be done right, and only one of them can be, I'd be like, oh, it has to be the Obi-Wan show then, right? It's the show about Obi-Wan. You gotta get that one right.
Have really short memories, right? Because like one thing about Andor, and partly because of when it was made, but also partly because of what it's dealing with, like you just said, they marketed the shit out of Kenobi. Like Kenobi was everywhere. Like, oh, Ewan's back and Hayden's back and it's amazing. Like, oh, it's everywhere. Like it was advertised out the wazoo. They really cared about that. Andor, basically nothing. Like it was a sleeper hit. Like it spread by word of mouth. No one gave. They didn't give a fuck about that as a show. And even with Andor season 2, they didn't drop a trailer until like 4 weeks, 5 weeks before it came out.
Yeah, they were really late on the Andor trailer. I remember the fucking dry spell where we were waiting for it. They didn't even drop it for the Super Bowl.
Dude, I had to shave my mustache because of that.
Andrew lost all his aura.
I did.
That's true. He looked like a fucking twink. He was pathetic.
He looked like one of those sea lions in the memes.
Also, I have to just say this. After having met Andrew in person, he is so much skinnier in real life than like any of his videos.
I felt like every time I looked at him, he got skinnier.
You are really skinny, man. You're just mad. Yeah, actually, I'm sorry to say. It's popped in my head.
when we were on the fucking tram to one of the other parks, we were all sitting on one side of it, and Andrew was sitting alone next to the window on the other side of it, and he had the fucking like Marvel disguise hat and sunglasses and like his backpack sitting between his legs. And I just took a picture of him and sent it to our group chat, like, guys, I think the Unabomber is on our tram.
Dude, okay, so I was at the entrance to Epcot with Rowan on the second to last day, and Kerm and Andrew on the monorail, and I saw them pulling into the station, and I saw Andrew looking out the window, and he actually looked like the Unabomber. And I was like, oh fuck, I'm dead.
I just have a photo that he put in the chat with like him and Sheev staring at the camera down the lens. I just have a saved picture of that because it's the funniest thing I've ever seen.
This image is dangerous.
Yeah, he looks like the incredibly thin, pasty white boy version of that Avatar, like on Facebook.
Wayne Fleet?
Bird flu? Well, no shit, Sherlock.
I think Andor is Kathleen Kennedy after years and years of not being able to figure it out. And I mean, by figure it out, I mean literally make good Star Wars as the president of the company. This is her sort of leaning on what she does well, what she always did well in her career, and that's just producing, finding other really talented people, and allowing their vision to come forward. And that's what she did with Tony Gilroy. And again,
yeah, and it was great.
And you think it's incredible, but I think it's a last-ditch effort of a president that just wanted some kind of a win before she exited Lucasfilm, because I think even Kathy understands that she didn't nail it. She didn't actually take Star Wars ahead. I mean, again, Tony Gilroy.
Okay, I mean, again, like, I'm not just gonna step up to bat for Kathleen Kennedy or anything, but like, I just don't think that's a fair reading, because it doesn't even make sense. First of all, like, I don't know why, someone who has like a few years left on, of her tenure before she's about to retire, and I don't know, fucking lay on a beach somewhere and spend the rest of her life pretty well off. I don't think she gives a two fucks if she, quote unquote, put Star Wars in the right direction. I don't think she gave a fuck about that. I think she literally just did her job, and in this particular case, did it well enough that a really good show was allowed to actually break through.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't even think it's because of her, but I also don't think it's in spite of her necessarily. I just think that she allowed it to happen.
Somebody in the chat is saying it's a valid question as to why she gave Gilroy more leeway than other creators. If I were to chalk that up to anything, it's because of the fact that he came in last minute to basically rewrite all of Rogue One while the movie was being filmed, and basically saved it.
If you look at the behind the scenes for Andor, the show, which Tony wasn't originally like a showrunner on at all, he had no creative input on the show. It was a disaster. I mean, the fucking Zootopia writer wrote the pilot of it. So, I mean, you can already tell like what that's going to be. And I think
Dude,
Kennedy,
initial crisis of the 21st century.
I think Kennedy took one look at that script and was like, okay, we need Tony, because this is not, we can't do this. This isn't going to work.
Yeah.
There's also going to be a thing of like, and this is going to come down to like what contract. And again, because it was so last minute, because Tony Gilroy, had chops and he came in and saved the thing. Part of his contract, I think, for him coming in would have been like, I want to be left alone. Like,
yeah,
I want you to bat.
Well, it's like I'm coming here to I'm coming here to
said
save
yes.
your bacon. I'm pulling you out of the fire, so you're gonna let me do my job. And of course, she's gonna agree to those demands. I'd save my show.
Yeah.
And
I mean,
he had more power to demand more freedom because of the nature in which he came on board the project, and it worked out for him.
Meanwhile, Dave is just kind of happy to be here. Like, I don't think he really makes that many demands. He's just like, let me play with my toys. She lets him do it.
Gilroy is a more seasoned writer, so he knows how to talk his way into being able to do whatever he wants. So, I mean, she probably just smooth talked everything and just was like, "Yeah, I win. Goodbye."
I think Filoni is doing everything he wants, but like that it's a kind of a symbiotic circle, right? Of like he was accelerated up the career ladder because he is the guy who will just agree and nod along happily with whatever idea the executives in the boardroom think is a good idea for the franchise as a product to sell. But he's only interested in the superficial.
Yeah.
And so they promoted him. And now he's in a position where he's just, he is essentially a large language model that just spits out board executive approved ideas before they even have to look at it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm actually really glad that Andor didn't end up getting the 5 seasons, because then, like, Filoni as president, he'd be interfering all over that shit. I don't want to see that. I don't want to see that fucking version of it. That would destroy the show.
Yeah, Filoni's higher ambitions with storytelling and Lucasfilm are entirely smashing fucking action figures together, and I'm so glad that like Tony Gilroy actually said, "Yeah, I kind of want to like tell a story. Like, I want to do that. That's a novel concept."
I do wonder actually whether part of the reason, because obviously the kind of going around to it all was like, oh, Disney shut this down because they never liked the show anyway, and they didn't, it was costing a lot of money, and they didn't, they're paring back on projects because they were losing money and all that kind of shit, which I'm sure is all true. But I do wonder if part of it was that Tony Gilroy was like told by Kathleen, "Oh, I'm not going to be here next year. It's going to be Dave who's running things."
He's like,
and
"Oh,
he was like,
fuck!"
Okay,
and he was like, "No,
we're calling it."
Yeah, I'm pulling the plug. Yeah, because I
wonder if that played a
imagine
part.
I imagine that Kathleen's retirement and ultimate like succession was probably planned out years ago. So I don't imagine. Like I'm sure Tony saw the writing
Well, yeah,
on the
that's why he
walls
kept
and
on
like
getting
I'm
the rumors
not.
every year, right?
Yeah. I'm sure Tony saw the writing on the wall and was like, I'm not dealing with that fucking climate. I don't want to do that. I'll take my 2 seasons.
Out of here.
Yep.
Roy doesn't even like Star Wars. Like he has said that.
That's not what he said.
That's fine. I don't care.
Motherfucker,
because
you don't
Andor's
like Star
good.
Wars.
But you gotta understand what that means for people like me. For people like me that say this doesn't feel like Star Wars, it doesn't use the grammar, the story grammar of Star Wars, and I can intuitively feel that.
You do not get to go on an entire tangent in your video about grammar and its importance in communication and then say words like intuitively.
Also, wrongly accusing Andor of diluting the Star Wars brand after praising fucking Dave Filoni.
Yeah.
I swear to God,
Alright,
I'm gonna beat this guy.
We're almost done.
Doesn't even like Star Wars. What am I supposed to think? Well, how am I supposed to feel? And I think that others are here as well. There are other folks.
Him saying, "What am I supposed to think?" is a genuine question because he doesn't know and is looking for someone to tell him. Is so fucking on the nose. I can't even describe it.
I'm telling you, this is the first original thought. Not even original, just the first thought he's ever like made.
There is like an expression, and it does seem to be unique to the Griftosphere, at least publicly unique to the Griftosphere, where of that happening, right? Of them having in real time on camera the first actual thought of their life, and then being so confused by its presence in their brain that they sort of like shake their heads a little, like they're rattling their skull to see if it's going to make a noise. They don't really know what to do with that.
They're like, oh fuck, what do I do? Wait, write this down.
More actual Star Wars, more George Star Wars, and I happen to think Dave Filoni is one of those people. And so I'm going to be really interested to see how does Dave go forward from here. Does he make things like Andor? Does he make things like Andor?
Seeing these two characters side by side like this hurts.
Yeah, I can't wait for Cassian to turn up in Ahsoka season 3.
No, he survived Scarif because she pulled him into the world between worlds right before.
You need
Jin can come too.
It'll turn out that Kanan Jarrus's kid actually isn't Kanan Jarrus's kid. It's actually Bix's kid with Cassian.
Oh my god!
Dude, Cassian got cut. Now Cassian can't get cut. He's too good looking. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
No, he cucked Kanan.
Yeah.
Okay, that's good.
Kara's still the baby mama.
Yeah, no, fuck Kanan.
Andor like resources and time and energy from the company to make better George Star Wars. That's what I'm hoping for. Maybe some of you are
I'm throwing him in a
idea.
building.
Anyway, this just popped off. Dave is obviously now kind of in charge of Star Wars for all intents and purposes, and this article popped off about Andor. I thought it was a good opportunity to kind of talk about all of this and explain why I don't like Andor. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below, and as I always say, I hope you are having an awesome and a nerdy day, and I'll see you.
No, you ruined it.
Your thoughts were truly wanted, and I hope nothing ill happens to you.
He titled this,
that was
"It's gonna be a
genuinely
scientific
terrible.
breakdown," and then he ends it with, "Well, that's just how I feel."
That was the entire video. It's just that's how I feel.
Oh my god. Fuck
You know what I hope
Josh.
for this
What a
man?
stupid bitch.
I genuinely hope he gets exactly what he wished for. I hope that Star Wars is only Dave Filoni slot for the next 20 years. And that, like, I curse him with the fucking consequences of his own pathetic desires. I want to see that moment of realization 10 years in where he's like, oh, this is really bad, isn't it?
No, but he's not going to notice it. Like, if he hasn't picked up on it by now, do you think 10 years from now it's going to get so substantially worse that even he picks up on it?
No, I think 10 years from now, his channel will have died so thoroughly because everyone else with a brain will have disagreed with him that he's going to look at it and be like, oh, I've got like 3 followers in the world. Maybe I was wrong.
Those are some of the worst thumbnails I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah.
I love that. I love that picture of him soy jack.
Why does he use it so much too? It's like, do you think this is?
I love it.
He never took more than one pic. He just ran with it.
No.
It's like, yeah, this will work. I'll
Real.
Photoshop it a little bit.
Make my eyes
my eyes
ungodly large.
Yes, this is real. And it's just Sadie Sink fucking mogging at the camera.
Sadie Sink is real. Can confirm. She actually exists.
That video is actually all about how she'll be playing Uncle Ben.
True.
Isn't she playing like Punisher's daughter or something? Isn't that the rumor?
Oh God.
Yeah.
When would what? When would he have had a daughter?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that girl's dead, right?
Right?
I think it might be like his side. I don't know how it works. You know what? I don't really fucking care. Sure, he has a daughter
Who
now.
fucking cares? Yeah.
I actually just I started talking and then mid sentence I like realized
You were like, I don't want to think about this actually.
I actually don't care about
You
this,
couldn't
whatever.
pay me to give a fuck.
You could care about Star Wars, or you could play Claire Obscure. You know, these are your options.
I'm going to check back into Streamlabs.
That video was
now.
remarkably terrible. Like, I actually don't even know what to say at this point. That was bad.
What
That
a
was very bad.
disappointment.
I thought it was great. I don't know what to tell you guys. My only disappointment is that like
disappointing thing since my son.
He definitely teased us with the lab coat, but I mean even without the lab coat, his video was very scientifically objective, and I think I learned a lot.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I genuinely thought he was gonna like start writing stuff on a whiteboard to like make his point.
False advertising.
No.
I was gonna make a joke.
I hate
when
this
you just said that,
fucking
I was
guy.
gonna make a joke in response, but like as I opened my mouth, I was like, no, I don't care. I just don't.
I do feel I feel successfully clickbaited though. I won't lie, because the thing is, right? If this was just any other video decrying Andor, and it was just a guy sitting in front of his fucking Doctor Doom mask, you know, if this video, you know, if I knew that this video was what it ended up being, every other fucking Andor hate video in existence, I wouldn't bother with it. I wouldn't have put together this stream, and I wouldn't have been like, let's react to this. But he did advertise this as, I'm going to scientifically break down why Andor is not Star Wars, and he used a picture of himself with a lab coat, pointing at a fucking whiteboard with a bunch of fake math equations. Like that's the only reason that I was like, this might actually be worth responding to. But no, it was just any other fucking Star Wars theory video.
Being like,
Yeah, baited by a delusional man-child. How do you feel?
It's the same fucking shit as like the Nando v Movies Born Again videos, where it's like it's just him kind of off the cuff rambling about nothing in particular, with fucking over editing, and he's just sitting in a chair.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah, that was nothing. A complete waste of everyone's time, and I'm sorry to have brought you all together for that. The stream's only been going for 3 hours, though.
I'll punish you the day after tomorrow with Doctor Who.
Oh, fuck off. The stream has only been going for 3 hours, which honestly is way less than I expected, and it's really only been going for such a short time because there was nothing really to latch onto with that. It was just nothing. So,
but you've probably made more in super chats than this guy's made on ad revenue on his video. So
maybe
think of it as
how many subscribers does this chucklefuck have?
200K.
Yeah, no, I was saying this earlier. He has 230K subscribers, and he already has like not the best in terms of like average video views for like the size of his channel. But even then, like even compared to those videos that aren't performing particularly well, this one bombed. He put it up 5 days ago. It has 6,000 views.
Yeah.
Jesus, even
yeah, that's bad. Fuck. If I had his subscriber count, I mean, even with my subscriber count, if I put out a video and in 5 days it accrued 6,000 views, I would be fucking sobbing.
I'm ending it all.
It's over for me.
Yeah, I'd get a 3 a.m. VC from Sheev, where he's like, I'd have to talk him down from the ledge.
I have to stop. I have to stop fucking making videos. I have to go back to working at Burger King.
No.
Dude's gonna quit YouTube and become a chocolate maker.
Who would do something like that? Some fucking idiot, probably.
I know, right? Probably a fucking dumbass.
So, before I close out the stream, I will have to read off the super chats that I got since last time. Nobody's obligated to be here for that, but I would love it if you guys stuck around to the bitter end. We got one.
Everyone clicks off immediately.
We're out. I didn't mean it. You have to be here. We got one from Lucky Kennedy for $5 Canadian. He said, Sheev, ever thought of watching Transformers Prime? It's often compared to the Clone Wars, but unlike the Clone Wars, it's good. Well, I have news for you, Lucky Kennedy. I've tried watching Transformers Prime, and I do compare it to the Clone Wars. In that it's a beloved show from people's childhoods. It came out around the same time as the Clone Wars. Has a lot of the same, like, you know, visual style as the Clone Wars insofar as it's, like, got shitty late 2000s 3D animation. And it's not good. At least the first 5 episodes, which is all I could bear to watch before I gave up.
Creationist will hang you for this.
Creationist was the reason he asked me to watch it. And I say this every time. The trade we made was that in exchange for me watching Transformers Prime, he would watch Andor. So one of us really did draw the short stick there, I think.
That is insane.
And then he acts like I'm an asshole for not wanting to finish the show, and I'm like, this is fucking trash.
I enjoy a little Prime because The Rock Johnson is Cliff Jumper and he gets fucking executed. But it is an insane comparison to be like, yeah, you should watch this after Andor.
I just like Peter Cullen. That's it.
Everyone's
True.
sending in their super chats now that we're ending the stream.
Of course, there.
I shouldn't complain, obviously. Like, I'm getting money out of this, but like at the same time,
no. Stop sending Sheev money and sending me money because I'm black. And I'm
true.
It's called reparations.
My dick is 4 times bigger than Sheev's whole head.
For all I know, Transformers Prime gets better, and it might be better than the Clone Wars overall. But like, God, those first handful of episodes, I just could not bear to continue.
It's great.
Yo, Transformers animated is better. Let's go.
True. It is.
From Larry Banks for $10. Star Wars Underworld, the show Lucas wanted to make. What do you think the potential plot line showing Palpatine's past and him being rejected by a gangster woman caused him to be evil? I think that's shit.
He got cut.
I think it's real fucking shit to give Palpatine a backstory where he becomes evil because he got rejected by a woman. Fuck off.
That's like,
wait a minute, Sheev. Do you remember a movie we watched last year that had that exact plot that made us almost crash out?
Mufasa's a great movie. They literally gave us an origin for Pride Rock.
Dude,
Pride Rock.
Shoot that animal.
Yeah, the first time I heard about how there were plans in the Underworld show to give Palpatine that backstory, I was like, George, go fucking die in a hole. Like, I hate you so much.
what do you mean?
But I have it on good authority that George Lucas always has good ideas and that his instincts are, quote, better than yours.
Mm-hmm.
Oh. Blazing Yeti for, again, I don't know what that currency is, but I got 400 of it. Opinions on the Timothy Zahn sequel books. I'm assuming you're referring to the Thrawn trilogy, Heir to the Empire, Dark Force Rising, and The Last Command, and I think those are pretty good books. No message from Will.
What is the ones written?
Sorry,
I just want to ask a question. Remind me, those were the ones written before the prequels came out, right? So, like, he has
those
like an idea of what the Clone Wars are that is like radically different from what the actual canon is.
Yeah, it's got some timeline discrepancies in general, like lore issues, because it came out before the prequels, and then George made the prequels and didn't give a fuck about what was written in some books, fucking in the early '90s. But you know, to the credit of those books, they're fucking way better than the prequels are, and they kind of like revitalized Star Wars' popularity in the 90s because like it, you know, it's kind of the reason that like the expanded universe exists in any capacity. Those books were really well received and for a good reason. So yeah, good books. Will Dees didn't give a message, but he did send $10, and I have to thank him for that. He also sent a gift membership, so thanking him for that as well. Thank you, Will Dees.
My favorite type of viewer says nothing, gives money.
Mate,
it's a simple life.
It's a simple transaction, yeah. Mate 56, how would you power rank Palp, Vader, Maul, Dooku, and Grievous? In terms of just raw strength, Vader's at the top.
When he said
okay, go ahead.
When he said Dooku, I read that as Dookie, and I was like, well, that's at the top.
Obviously, yeah. If we're going by raw strength, Vader's at the top, followed by Palpatine. Then I'd say Dooku, and then right below that is Maul. Would you agree with that?
Yes.
And then obviously Grievous is at the bottom because he doesn't have force power. But if we're talking about just like who I think would win in a fight based on their own training and experience, I don't think Vader tops at that because he just wouldn't ever fight Palpatine. Like, I think he'd beat Palpatine in a fight if he actually gave it his all, but I don't think he ever would until obviously what happened at the end of Return of the Jedi. So for that reason, I would put Palpatine at the top, followed then very closely by Vader. And I'd still probably say Dooku, Maul, and Grievous. Although I could see Grievous being above Maul there. I don't know. I'd put either of them. I flip flop on them.
I think recent iterations of Maul aside, I think Maul should be more powerful than Grievous because he's a Sith Lord, a fully trained Sith Lord, and a very competent one.
The thing is that like both Grievous and Maul are significantly nerfed by the Clone Wars. So if we're talking about those versions of the characters, I still give it to Maul.
Yeah, I think Palpatine, Vader, then a very large gulf, then Dooku, then just behind Dooku, Maul, then Grievous after another like fairly good gulf.
Yeah, but you have to remember that Grievous is also very powerful in his own right. Like, if we're talking about the Genndy Tartakovsky one, who's obviously a bit exaggerated in the same way that all the characters are exaggerated in their power levels, you also have to remember that, like, yeah, he's a domineering force. He's, like, a very skilled fighter. But, like, the reason he was able to take on as many Jedi as he did in that one sequence that everyone loves to glaze, and for good reason, is because they were already battered and beaten and exhausted. It wasn't exactly a fair fight.
And he used psychology to his advantage, right? Which is something that J.K. Tells was doing the training scene in that show. Of like, if you just try up and go against a Jedi Council member, you're gonna get wrecked, Grievous. So you have to break them down psychologically, pick your moments, take them by surprise.
That's what he did.
Unleashed aggression. Yeah, and he does that, and it works.
God, Grievous is such an interesting character. I hate you, Dave. I hate you so much.
Yeah, Dave. You said that about every character on that list, like particularly Dooku, Maul, and Grievous. Like their characterizations should be fascinating, but they're just treated like crap.
Yeah. Another one from Larry Banks for $10. Looking up about Andor, Tony went on to talk about how much Kathleen went above and beyond to get him the show he wanted to make. So Josh downplaying Kathleen Kennedy's involvement is just a false narrative. Yeah, we already talked about that. It's pretty obvious that she basically gave him whatever he wanted, and because he basically, like, to put it bluntly, he strong-armed her. I will not help fix your fucking show.
Disney.
Yeah, for all we know, Kathleen was very willing to just give him what he wanted because she's a good producer. I don't know.
I think it is just because he's a seasoned writer. Like, he's one of the few seasoned writers that have ever, like, showed up and been like, all right, I want to make this thing, and you're gonna fucking give it to me. And then everyone's like, oh shit. Lock in.
Taco Tuesday for $5 something. I don't know what that A is. Hello, off topic, but what is that Breaking Bad plot problem you and a few others mentioned a few months back? God, I don't fucking know. That was a few months back. Breaking Bad plot. I mean, it's got a few. I don't know which one specifically we would have been referencing, though. I'd need more information.
There's quite a few small issues in the early part of that show, and then towards the end, the contrivances start getting sort of larger and larger because they're trying to hurry the plot along in ways. I don't think there's any like massive plot holes or anything, but it's just there are quite a few quite large contrivances towards the end.
I mean, the one that always springs to mind when talking about the finale is how the fuck did he get that ricin and Lydia's stevia? It's a closed package. Yeah. How did you do that?
He reclosed it.
I guess.
There's other things as well. I think Sheep and I have had a bit of a back and forth on this, but we're broadly in agreement, which is that the way Hank finds out that Walt
there's issues there.
Heisenberg has issues.
It has issues. I think it's a lot more mild than Jolly you'd probably say it is, but there are issues present there.
I mean, I don't think it's that serious. I just think it was enough that like when it happened, my eyebrow got raised, but like nothing more. I wasn't like going, no, that's complete bullshit. Like I was like, yeah, all right, I can see that happening. It's a bit quick and easy. I don't know if accept that this is a likely outcome. But I guess Walt just got really unlucky. So
It's
a bit thick.
It's an oversight that I can see Walt making, leaving the book on in the bathroom, and I can also see Hank fishing around for something to read while taking a shit. What's more funny is that he was using the master bathroom, which I went on a whole fucking rabbit hole with Sam and Shiny about this, where I was like, wait, their house actually only has that one bathroom in Walt and Skylar's room, and that's fucking hilarious.
There's I think the pushback I make is I agree with everything you just said. I think the reason it becomes a little bit hard for me to believe that Walt would leave it lying around, as with the knowledge that he has at that point, is that he's already had Hank bring him the Walt Whitman poem and the WW and been like, oh, I wonder who this is.
Oh, sorry.
The moment that happened, Walt should be like, yeah, that book is being buried so no one can find it.
I saw. Okay, so I just got a message from Sam, and I think I realize now what the chatter is asking about. He said, I think that super chat is referring to that meme with that meme one with the house I teased on Twitter. So yeah, I was gonna end up doing a shitpost video about this, but I never actually got around to it, so I might as well say we kind of did tease this on Twitter just as a joke, where we implied that we found some major issue with Breaking Bad, and then what it actually was the bathroom thing that I just mentioned. It was we figured out that there's only one bathroom in the house, and it's in the master bedroom for some reason, and then that led us down a rabbit hole where we realized that because the interior of the house is obviously a set that was being built, there are some inconsistencies in terms of where certain things must exist spatially, to the point where the house just actually does not make any sense as a layout once you try to break it down.
Like The Simpsons.
Yeah.
Oh.
They have a garage, and it's just completely not there in the interior of the house. And then for one scene in season 2, there is a garage, and you're like, where the fuck is that? How do you get to that? Where's the entrance to that? Yeah, it's really funny. What was he?
It's kind of off topic, but on Palpameme's Discord server, he posted Mahler's video on Star Wars Outlaws, and he said, "Awesome video for the unemployed."
That's great.
I have 18 hours to kill. Wisdom Minari for $10. Thank you very much for the super chat. Not to be too parasocial, but after the last few weeks we've had, I'm so glad you all streamed. Oh, well, I don't think that's really necessarily parasocial. It's been a rough few weeks. It's been a bad start to 2026, and if we're able to provide you guys comfort or entertainment in any way that, I guess lets you forget about the shit that's been going on, even just for a few hours, and I'm glad we're able to do that.
Yeah, dude, one thing that I find helps with all this stuff?
Beer.
Killing people?
I was gonna say crack, but I mean,
I thought you were gonna say jerking off.
I love how with C, it's just a wheel of chance to just be like, what unhinged thing is C gonna say?
Crack, murder, jerking
it's
off.
Gonna be. We're gonna skin the babies.
As a sole European in chat, I will say I'm obviously much more insulated from the worst of the craziness, because I have an ocean between me and the Orange Man. So all I can say is I'm sending everyone in America all my love who is sane, and I hope you're all staying warm through this horrible piece of weather, and that you're all going to be safe and okay, and everyone look out for each other, obviously, because we really need to in these pretty shitty times. Yeah.
The Loquid in chat said detached garages are a thing. It's not detached. I go to that scene. It's when he's taking baby Holly into the garage to show her the money that he's hidden. He's clearly entering into it from inside the house. It's not detached. There's supposed to be an entrance to it somewhere. I just have no fucking idea where.
It's through the bathroom in Walt and Skylar's bedroom.
True. It's that's actually that room is a central point in the house that basically everything intersects through. You have to go through it to get anywhere.
The world between worlds, but in Breaking Bad.
Exactly.
Another one from Larry Banks for $5. Do you ever plan on making videos specifically talking about the EU media, like the Old Republic, post-Andor EU era, such as the New Jedi Order, Legacy of the Force, and Fate of the Jedi? That's way down the line, but eventually, yeah, I'd like to start talking about that stuff. I've actually recently been tossing around the idea of devoting a whole second channel to basically just like a book club, like not just about Star Wars books. I'd like to talk about other books on there too, but it'd be nice to like do.
Capital.
It'd be nice to do videos about books because not enough people talk about books. I feel like everyone should fucking read.
Going to make it a political philosophy section. We're just gonna like post Plato's Republic and Das Kapital and Engels the situation of the working class in England. Do what everyone reads.
I've been thinking of eventually doing a video where I basically just like, and I've thought about this for a while. I don't know when I would make it, but it would basically just me being like, if you want to get into like Star Wars books, I can give you like a comprehensive guide of like where to begin, where to jump to, you know, where to find some of the things you might be looking for, blah 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 blah. One of these days. Nope. As for like specific reviews of those things, probably not. But I might, you know, like if I do that video, I'd be like, and this is this book series, and I have this opinion about it. That's probably the best you'd get from me. There's a lot about Star Wars to talk about. I say I'm talking about it all. I'm never covering all of Star Wars. That's just never going to be able to happen.
No, you're doing it. We're gonna make you. We're gonna put your nose to grindstone for the rest of your life. You'll be 85 and still putting out these videos.
Till he's 90.
If you don't do it, I'm gonna wait until we're back at Disney World and you're in the bathroom for Animal Kingdom, and I'm gonna walk up next to you and piss in the urinal right next to you and look you right in the eyes.
Diabolical urinal placement.
Urinal placement.
Mate 56.
Something they just don't know.
Yeah, and we're not going to explain it either because that's funnier. Mate 56, will you make a video about Doomsday when the time comes? No, because I'm not going to watch that.
Good.
Yeah,
I'm watching Dune.
I'm not fucking seeing that. I don't give a fuck.
Dune!
And then, one final super chat to end the night, everyone, from Nui V9M for $4.99. Would it be funny if Luke had a Nemoidian Jedi student decked with samurai-like armor and called Luke Sensei Skywalker in the sequels? I guess. I don't know. Maybe.
What, like the sequels just double down on George's implicit racism.
Just racism, yeah. Just calls him Sensei.
Dude, I love having a stroke in the chat.
It's a good day when Sheev talks about Andor. Thank you. Alright, that's all the super chats. We can end this now.
Yep.
I'm free! Thank you to everyone in this panel for coming to experience this wonderful video with me. I'm sure we all had a great time.
Dude, I'm gonna get canceled again.
Links to their respective socials can be found in the description, except for C's because he specifically requested otherwise.
Yeah, I fucking hate the internet.
Yep.
That's real.
He's kind of going on an arc right now. I don't know if this is a phase or if this is just real.
This is real. I'm actually done. I'm genuinely done.
Real.
And obviously, thank you everyone for watching. And most of all, I think I want to say thank you to Josh from Den of Nerds for, I think, really educating me about the scientific process and what Star Wars' language is, cinematically speaking.
For elevating the art form of criticism to a scientifically measurable peak. Thank you.
Yeah.
I mean,
fuck you, no lab coat.
I'm gonna buy his lab coat.
The dagger was going Mark 9.
I have a special message for Josh. I hope your wife's boyfriend's doing okay.
I love you. All right, goodbye, everyone. I'll remember you all in therapy. Does anyone else have anything that they want to say before I end this?
This video brought to you by Dr. Pepper.
Mm.
Oh.